He's known as Bill Nye's beau of the time. I held diving brother baby, who likes to PV in lots of games. Think Arma 3, Mass Effect, and Flight Simulator. Arma 3, Mass Effect, and Flight Simulator. Arma 3, Mass Effect, and Flight Simulator. I've known him for like 12 years. We used to airsoft many, many times. And now that we look back, we feel that we're old and plastic BBs are not cool for us. We cry and cry and cry and cry, and our muscles hurt, muscles hurt, muscles hurt. I don't really have a third verse for this song. I didn't think it this far along, and now we don't know what we're doing and now. And we are his sisters and his cousin and his aunts, and we are his sisters and his cousin and his aunts, and Winnaker with pride, our buzzer swells with pride. I'm the monarch of the sea.
You know, like, oh, hey, you know, Miss So-and-so, what time is it? They're like, well, you got somewhere to be? Or like, I was like, just like a few weeks ago, I was in a meeting at work and I looked at my watch and like the guy running the meeting was like, oh, hey, if you got somewhere else to go, you can, you can head off. I think we're good with you here.
Yeah, you got more important things to do.
Like people take it as like this rude thing. And I'm just like, no, I'm just like, I have this weird OCD thing about knowing what time it is.
I do the same thing with the speedometer. It's so dumb. Like even if I'm in bumper to bumper traffic and like we're all like, there's nowhere to go, I still look at the speedometer like every half second. It's like I have to be like, okay, how am I going? How fast am I doing? Am I over? Am I under? Am I performing well for the drivers around me?
Performance anxiety.
Yeah. Oh, it's awful.
Yeah. I almost thought I was getting a speeding ticket last week. So I live in California now, and California Highway Patrol, or CHIPS, as everyone likes to call them.
Great
yeah,
show.
they've been out like crazy the last few weeks. And like I drive by one, I can see he's got his little radar gun out. And like as soon as I drive by, I see him like get in his car, like roll the window up, and he peels out. I'm like, oh shit! And I was looked down, and I was going like 83 and a 65, because that's just how California is. Like everyone speeds here. So I was just going with the flow of traffic and didn't even notice it. But he turns his lights on and goes around me and gets a Prius that was ahead of me.
Oh. You're like, well, that's all the luck I had today.
Yeah. Well, and the worst part is I was on the phone with my mom, so I was like, Mom, I'm getting pulled over.
Sorry. Can you vouch for me? Can you talk to the officer? I'm nervous.
Yeah, can you tell him I'm nervous? Can you call?
Can you vouch for me?
So what's new with you, man? Got the family all back together now after bachelorhood with 2 kids for a while?
Yeah, bachelorhood with 2 kids. Just being a sad little single parent, you know? No, yeah, it's really nice to have
single
the family
dad who
back
loves
together.
his kids.
Exactly. You know, walking the dog,
that Trisha Yearwood song is,
carrying a fake baby on my chest to really add to the ambiance of the story. I told people she died. It's just been real tough, you know?
How does she feel about that?
I haven't told her that. I told people she was dead. But I guess I could tell her now. I'll be right back. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah. Now that it's like in the past, now it's funny.
Yeah, now it's funny. Exactly. No, she wouldn't be shocked at all. Well, it'd be better if she like got her job back at the school. They got rid of a ton of positions, so they didn't get her contract back up. But it would have been way funnier if I did that. Then she showed up next year, and they were like, "I thought you died." We had a whole thing for you? Yeah.
But did you die?
Did you die? Exactly. But yeah, no, Lisa just started a new job. It's overnights. Whoa.
Oh, man.
So she's doing that. But with that, we now it's full time. So we got 2 full-time incomes coming in, which is a huge help. Yeah.
Nice.
So, and then with it being overnight, she gets off in time where we can see each other before I go to work. Like ships passing in the night, basically, but she can still like during the school year, you know, she can take the kids to school, then she can sleep while they're at school, and then go pick them up, and so it's like she can still work, and it not really interrupt too much the flow of the day to day.
Right, and like you guys still get to see each other like at your normal time and whatever.
Oh yeah. So. She'll be awake by the time I get home from work, so it's like, you know, the only thing is she, you know, obviously it takes a little bit of a nap before she goes to work, but it's like, yeah, it's fine.
Nice. Yeah, got those fat stacks coming in now, huh?
Oh, dude, listen, buddy, I'm rolling in it. I think I'm gonna, you know, some people do those penny floors. Mine's just gonna be $100 bills, baby.
$100 bill. I was thinking maybe, or like the Eisenhower, like half dollars.
Oh,
that would be
that'd be
super
that's
classy.
more baller than the $100 bill.
Yeah,
That's not wrong.
yeah,
I might do that.
yeah.
I'm gonna measure it
totally.
out and see how many bills I need.
I just think of that scene from like Breaking Bad, like just lying on the giant pile of cash, except it's your floor.
I mean, nothing has made me want to relive a moment in a show more than that. Like that was like if I could do that one, or like when the Joker used that giant pile as a slide.
Yes.
Before he set it on fire, but when he slid down it, I was like, that looks so fun.
That should be a ride at Disney World. They have enough cash to do that. Just like a pile of money.
Yes.
That you just get to slide down. You could take a handful with you. The mouse doesn't care.
No, the mouse doesn't care at all, dude. Yeah, I mean, there's no electricity needed for that ride. So it saves the money.
Right. I mean, like, there's no waiver or anything you have to like sign. Right. It's like, it's not like one of those like crazy rides where it's like, oh, if you have a heart condition, you can't be on this or whatever.
Yeah, I think a giant pile of cash gives everyone a heart condition. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
That's true, or a hard on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder what I would do in that situation.
Yeah. Man, pile of, or like what was the one, DuckTales, like Scrooge McDuck?
Ooh, yeah,
like diving into the pool of coin. That would hurt. That would hurt bad.
Really bad.
Oh,
maybe just make them all their foam coins, but like it represents how much you have. It's like a foam pit.
Just don't make it like the well, it was like, what was that, like the, not TwitchCon, but like there was like that StreamerCon foam pit where that.
Oh no, that was TwitchCon.
Smashed her pelvis or something.
Completely. And then I watched a video. There's another con a couple months ago, and some girl, like, same thing. They had a diving board set up. Why people do this, I don't know. And so she's watching people like casually walk out of this foam pit. Obviously, it's not that deep, and she decides to cannonball in and like smacks her knees on her face.
Hey man, like, depth perception isn't something everybody has.
Perception
or object permanence. Yeah.
Yeah, you bring up good points.
Yeah.
Well, how's California treating you, man?
It's good. I like it. It is expensive as hell. Don't get me wrong. That part really sucks. But it is super nice. The weather's awesome. I live like in, technically it's the Bay Area, but I'm like out east, like outside of the big cities and stuff. So like I still got like kind of like the small town vibe. I'm still really close to like tons of parks and hills for like hiking and like all these like reservoirs for swimming and stuff. But if I want to like, go over to San Jose or San Francisco and do like city stuff, it's only like, 30, 40 minutes too. So it was a lot like, growing up in Colorado, like being kind of in the mountains, but like Denver's also super close by too.
Oh yeah. No, that is super nice to be like, all right, I can literally have my cake and eat it too.
Right.
Yeah,
like
sorry,
go ahead.
No, after you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Of course.
Well, I mean, before coming here, I was in New Mexico after I finished school in Colorado, and like that was just like, it was cool. I was there for like a couple of years, but once COVID hit, it just got so isolated. I was in this tiny town, like in the mountains, like way in the middle of nowhere. It was an hour to Santa Fe. It was 2 hours to Albuquerque, and just like, man, once COVID hit, it was just dead. Like there was nothing going on. And it was like still winter there too, right? Like early in the year. So it's just like, oh, cool. I guess I'm just like stuck in my house now for months on end with nowhere to go and nothing to do and can't see any of my friends.
So I don't think I ever actually asked, because I met you when you were going to school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I knew about you living in California, but I never knew why the couple of years in New Mexico. What was that about?
So that was just my first job out of school.
Okay.
Yeah, I got my master's at University of Denver. And then I was working at Los Alamos National Lab for a few years. So that was cool. I lived in the town of Los Alamos, which, as I mentioned, is very small and very remote, because that's how, I guess, the Manhattan Project guys liked it back in the day. Still pretty remote to this day. It's a very weird place to live, for sure, because it is just like everyone who lives in the town now, because it's not like closed off or anything like it was back then, right? But like everyone who lives in town, like either they work at the lab or they have a spouse that works at the lab, because that's the only reason to be there.
That was gonna be my next question. Yeah.
So it's just like, it's like the closest thing to a company town that like still exists, basically. it's just weird, right? And so
Hey,
everyone around you is like a fucking like PhD physicist, which means like nobody has any social skills.
no, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna be like,
So
hey,
the
at least you have
only
something to talk
thing,
about at parties, but no, you do
right?
not.
Well, no, because we can't talk about our work outside of the office, right? 'Cause
Exactly.
it's
So
all
I'll
like,
just go, that sky sure is
oh
blue
hey,
today.
nice seeing you. Luckily, there was a really good brewery though. If you ever find, folks, if you're listening, if you ever find yourself in Los Alamos, Bathtub Brewery, it's a great spot. So yeah, that's my
That's a
sales
great
pitch
name for a
the day, I
brewery.
guess. Yeah, there's like a whole like history thing I could get into about it, but I'll spare your audience of that
No,
for
I'm
now.
ready. Bring it on.
Oh, it's just like, so the whole
Step
thing
by
about
step.
like ooh man, so back in the era of Spanish conquest, the conquistadors reached Nuevo Mexico.
Okay.
No, okay, I'm not gonna go that far back, but
Oh, I
basically,
was locked in, dude.
when the lab was built in the 40s, the only people who had bathtubs in their houses were like all the like lab directors, like Oppenheimer and Fermi, all the fancy,
Oh,
famous
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
And they were all on this one street, so they just called it Bathtub Row, and then everyone else just lived in army barracks and they had showers. So everyone was super jealous of the fact that all the directors got fancy bathtubs, basically.
That's amazing.
And it
Bathtub
still
row.
still holds up to this day.
I love this. Well, it's like anytime you see towns that have just these weird fucking names. Well, driving through, especially going to like events and stuff for airsoft, you drove through some remote places with some very interesting town names. You're like, I wonder how that came about.
Oh man, yeah, there's places we went to airsoft where like I look on Google Maps now and I have no idea where the fuck we were.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, dude.
we were out in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. Like,
well, and what's weird
man.
is a few of those places that like I think I still have memorized. I could probably get in a car and get there now, but if I tried to, like you said, if I try to go on maps, I'd be like, how are we there? That doesn't make any sense.
I want to know how the other guys found them. Like, how did they find out about these places? Just like these tiny campsites in the middle of nowhere, like in the mountains outside of like either Boulder or Fort Collins or wherever, where we were playing back then.
Well, I guess when you have a
But
ton of money and literally nothing but free time, you can do that kind of thing.
yeah, just drive around the mountains for a while.
How did you get into that Boulder airsoft scene? Because that's where me and you met. And were you at the first Throwdown? I'm trying to figure out if we met at Throwdown 1 or 2.
Was that the one that was like outside of Lions?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about that earlier.
Throwdown. Okay.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't remember the name of it, but yeah, and we had we pitched our tents. we had our tents right next to each other, and yeah, so we like hung out that whole night because I'm blind as a bat at night, so I couldn't play at night really. Like I went out for like 30 minutes and couldn't see shit and just came back. So you and I were hanging out at the campsite tonight at night like the whole time.
Yeah, I think I tried to play for a couple hours. And it was like, obviously, everyone on the Boulder team had like NVGs and
they got like
and
fucking
tracers, and I was like,
tracer airsoft BBs.
I can't compete. Yeah. So I was like, I'm done.
No, I don't remember. I don't know how Chris got in contact because the guy who was leading it, Chris, remember the entire comp?
Oh yeah,
was a huge douche.
Yeah, I had to deal with him for many years after you left.
Oh, really? Okay, I want to hear that story then.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so he came, I guess, so like we, in high school is when I started playing airsoft, and we had a group that played like around like the Evergreen Conifer area in Colorado.
Okay.
And we had a Facebook page or whatever, or like, the guys who organized the games and stuff. I guess Chris found that page somehow because he was trying to start he and John were trying to start a Boulder Airsoft, and they came out to one of our games, right? And we're just like a bunch of fucking kids like running around in the woods.
Oh yeah, that's all
right?
You're like, we just want to shoot each other. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we're out there like, Call of Duty or whatever. And for whatever reason, yeah, Chris like came out and was like, "Oh hey, yeah, we're starting up a team in Boulder." And I was like about to start college that summer at Mines, which is like, just down the street from Boulder basically. So I kept in touch with him, and like, when they started having I don't know, interviews, auditions, whatever the hell they were trying to do.
Yeah, it was legit interviews.
Yeah,
God, I remember going through that interview process. And at the time, I was like, this is so fucking cool. And now I look back and go, holy shit.
Dude, yeah, I know. It's like, I joke about that now where I'm like, I joke with my friends. I'm like, yeah, there was this one time I accidentally joined a militia.
Yes. You legit did though.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want to think about what it would be like today. But in these trying times.
Yeah.
But
Civil War, great movie.
Yeah. A24, go see it, folks. But yeah, so yeah, I met he's sort of like, like out of like a scouting agent or something. I don't know. It was weird. Looking back on it, just that whole thing and just all the time,
All of it was
time
weird.
with those guys. I mean, they were a lot of fun games. Like they definitely knew how to put a fun match on, right? And like, it was cool that we got they really did some good. At least at the beginning, they did some really good outreach and like getting people to come to the games, and just like having fun with it. But then they just got like
then it just turned into
way up their own
than
asses
everyone.
about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Way too serious about it.
You're not doing it our way, and that's a problem, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'd gotten a security job at a desk, just watching cameras all day. And all my friends had stopped playing airsoft, and for some reason I didn't outgrow it. I still play video games too, folks. How's it going? And so back in the day, if you recall, forums, FORUMS.
Yeah. Airsoft retreat, man. I still have an airsoft retreat baseball cap somewhere.
Oh, yes. I love that. But so I was Googling just every airsoft forum I could and just like talking in them. And I happened to find a link to Operation Throwdown, which is Boulder Airsoft's first big event they were hosting. I was like, sweet, I'd love to go do this. That's like an hour from my house. Like, I'm looking for stuff to do. There's uniform requirements. This sounds awesome, getting all nerdy about it. Yeah. And then I was just chatting and planning with stuff, and Tango was in there too. And it was just like me and him are the only two active people ever. And so it was just
forums. Yeah, I remember that.
So it was just me and him chatting back and forth all day, every day. And so, yeah, that event is when I met Tanner, because he's the one that really pulled me into everything. And then you were there. And that was February 4th, 2012.
Was that I remember it being summer.
No, it was. No, that's when I posted the picture. Never mind. Sorry.
Oh, gotcha.
2000.
Gotcha. Okay.
No, that would have been 2011 then, if I posted the picture in February.
Yeah, that sounds right.
2000. Yes, because it was the first year me and my wife were married.
Yeah. And I was in college then.
Yeah, so it was June or July 2011.
Yep.
Dang. Do the math, buddy. That's a couple years.
Yeah. Been a while.
Been a while.
We go way back.
Way back, brother.
But yeah, I was thinking about that because everyone always asks questions like, "Oh, how'd you meet Brett? What have you been doing in time?" And it's like I was trying to remember like all those like details of like the airsoft games and stuff we used to play.
Oh yeah, man. And I'd go to a bunch of their pickup games. Did you ever come out to Kiowa Creek, the field?
Was that the one
before that?
East of the airport?
Yeah, it was out in
Barrett or something like that.
Yes, Bennett.
Yeah. I went once. That was the last time I ever went airsofting.
Okay.
Me and Shifty drove out. That guy.
That's a guy.
Yeah. The less said, the better, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we drove for whatever reason. I drove, and we drove out, and yeah, we were there for the day. It was pretty cool. I also got pulled over. Circling back, I got pulled over on that drive out and got a ticket. Because like you remember there was like that stretch on I-70 where like it was like the speed limit went down to like 55 for no reason.
Yep, I got a ticket in the exact same spot, going to the exact same field. Motorcycle cop.
Yep. So yeah, I got a ticket on the way there. That was fun. Only speeding ticket I've ever gotten. Just for the record, while I'm on here, speaking to the audience.
I'm knocking on my desk right now.
I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy.
You are a good boy.
Yeah, that was the last time I ever airsofted. And it was a good time. I remember it being fun. And then we got caught in a tornado on the drive back, so that was cool. Yeah. Also made me like never want to drive east of the airport ever again.
Dude, I love that drive. I was out there as much as I could to the point where I like.
Yeah, you were always talking us up about it. Like, you guys got to come out to Kiowa.
Well, because I was part of the crew that like the guys who were running it didn't want to anymore, and so another group took it over, and then I jumped in with them, and we like tore a bunch of stuff down, completely rebuilt things. Like I was in charge of social media for the field for a while.
Yeah.
And I was just, on top of it and in there every weekend I could. It was so much fun.
Yeah, but I remember it was a cool field. Yeah,
you were really cool. Rip that field. Thanks a lot, douchebags out there. No. So going back to Chris, right?
Oh yeah. So what
So
happened after I left?
years later, right? I mean, many times his team would come out to Kiowa because we would host
Right.
events, and we're like the only place he could go. But they would
Yeah.
show up with, I don't know if you saw it, but they actually bought this like crazy
Yeah. They
Humvee,
bought like an F-250 or something, and
put
then like
every bell
ruined
and
it
whistle
trying
on
to
it.
mod it. Yeah.
Yes. Dude, this thing was probably had more shit on. This is why they're like definitely like legit a militia. Like I don't think SWAT has as much stuff on their vehicles as these guys had on that thing. Is like
For
I mean,
airsoft. Yeah.
for
For
air,
a game.
computers, drones, all this extra gear, kit, air compressors, chainsaw, like
Right. To go out and shoot plastic BBs
to go
with
shoot plastic
teenagers.
BBs. But so they would show up and they'd be like, "We're going to run our drone, right?" And we're like, "Okay." And so the big thing with the fight, it happened every time he'd come out. Would Chris
Someone
would say,
shoots at the
"I want to
drone.
use." Well, no, this is what happened. Is he'd say, "I want to use my drone." Okay, but I want to be in the parking lot when I use it, so no one can shoot me while I'm using it and hit the goggles and stuff. And I was like, I see what you're saying here, but at the same time, there's zero way to counter what you're doing if you're off the field. So you either need to use it on the field or we're allowed to shoot at your drone. I guess I won't use it. But dude, and his team, those guys would bitch and moan about everything every time they came. It was so
Yeah, I
annoying.
heard they started getting like super blacklisted.
Yeah. Oh,
Right?
hardcore.
And
Yeah.
like I think I'm so proud of this still too, is how like I was the first person to leave, or not one of the first people
I
to
think
leave,
you probably
right?
were. Yeah.
And then like after I left, like Tango left, Ted left, and like it started the chain of everyone else that was original leaving, because they were just like
Well, it was all the cool
so
people who
fed
just
up.
wanted to have fun with airsoft left, and all the
Right. It was just
douchebags
all
that
of us who
lean
just
too
wanted to
far
have
into it.
fun, just
Yeah.
like screw around with our friends in the woods on the weekend, like whatever. Pretend we're playing Call of Duty in person because it's fun.
That's what's
But
yeah.
like,
Just dress up, do cool shit, shoot
yeah,
BBs at each
play
other, and
dress
go
up. It's
home.
LARPing. It's LARPing.
It's
100%.
exactly LARPing. Yeah.
Airsoft is LARPing with machine guns.
So much fun. But yeah, dude, it was just, I don't know what they're up to today because that's
they're long gone.
Are they long gone?
I check in on them every now and then, like, or like I look and see if there's like anything new. And yeah, they put some post up that was like, oh, we're disbanding the team, blah blah blah. Thanks for everyone. Even though at this point they had been like, yeah, like blacklisted
From
everywhere because they're all such douchebags.
I think they got blacklisted from like some of the big organizers too.
Yeah, didn't you go out to that one in like Southern California or something?
I didn't go to that one. That was only a couple people on that team went to that one.
Okay.
But,
I remember there was one. It was like at like a abandoned water park in the desert somewhere,
yeah,
right?
I really wanted to go to that one. That one looked really
okay,
cool.
I must have been thinking of someone else.
Yeah. No, everyone went to that one in Oklahoma a bunch. Broken Home.
Yeah.
And they got, I don't know if they got blacklisted from them, but there's a couple, I think Lion Claws wouldn't let them come anymore. And then what's the other one? Was it Milsom West? I think also wouldn't let them come to their events anymore.
Yeah.
Which is 2 out of 3 of the biggest organizers in the country.
Right. And then people thought, at least, I mean, but even by the time I quit, like people like weren't showing up to our games and stuff. Like it would be like us and like 2 other guys.
Well, because it got to the point where you'd show up and it'd be like a 3-hour briefing before a pickup game.
Right. Yeah. Here's 30. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Here look at this paperwork.
Well, and then remember they started requiring this GPS app if you wanted to play at their games.
Yeah.
And the patch, that's what killed him. Because you couldn't charge to play, on public fields like that. And so they're like, you have to buy our patch to be allowed at our games. Yeah, I think that's what did it. Anyway, that's a long time ago.
Oh man, I do miss it. I don't miss the sweaty Milsom douchebags. No. But yeah, I've looked around because I still have a decent amount of my gear. We were talking about this recently. I sold like all my like rifles and stuff to Tango before I left Colorado.
And then someone broke into his garage and stole everything.
And then someone stole it all. I think I still have 1 or 2, like ones that I had done like tons of customizations on that I didn't want to get rid of. But like I don't have any batteries anymore. I don't have any more, CO2 or green gas or whatever. I don't even think I have BBs anymore. But I've kept a lot of the kit for like cosplay and Comic Cons though. Like I still have all my kit and I still use that for.
Oh, that's
for,
so awesome.
Like Comic Cons and whatnot, and that's super cool. I've held on to all that, but like Yeah, if I really want to get back into it, it's like it's changed so much too.
Oh yeah,
Since
dude, I
we were
went to
playing
just
it.
like
Like,
Evike to look at stuff. I think it was just a couple months ago, and I was like, I don't know what any of this stuff means
yeah,
anymore.
like I think like KWA is gone.
Yes,
Like all the huge brands from mid 2000s that were like top of the line stuff, like they're all gone
they're all
now.
gone, and I don't recognize any of these new
Um,
names.
yeah,
And
and like everyone runs lipos now. There's like way more like gas stuff out there
and
that's
then
like
the
crazy
air,
good.
what am I thinking of? Not the
High pressure air HPA.
HPA. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone's
yeah,
running that stuff. I got to play with a guy came out with an HPA LMG to
yeah.
Kyle one day, and I
Nice.
got to use that in a round, and I was like, this is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
But
was
I
really
mean,
cool
now
seeing
I'm
him.
a grown up,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I don't have time for that shit.
Well, it's funny. I think it was a couple years ago was the last Broken Home, that big one in Oklahoma that has like the tanks and the helicopters and shit.
Yeah.
And me and Tango were like, well, I mean, the first Broken Home was our first big event we went to. So I was like, we kind of have to go to the last one. And so it was
Yeah.
just me and him. Neither of us had played in like 3 years. We showed up with like, we were like, hopefully our batteries work, you know? I think we just bought one bottle to share between the two of us. And yeah, we played
like bottle of BBs.
like a bottle of BBs. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
A bottle of BBs. And then, so we get there, and Chrono's the whole thing. We get everything figured out and squared away and show up. And then it turns out we're like leading a squad. And we're like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
The two oldest guys there.
Yeah. That haven't played in years. We did pretty
Yeah.
good. But so it took us a couple hours to get in the groove. And then it was like, then the like, I'm not scared to get hit anymore, mindset kicked in. Then it was just really fun to dive behind trees and run around and,
Right.
shout out and move around, throw smoke and all this stuff. And then I went to bed and then I woke up the next day and I was like, Tango, I physically cannot fucking play this game today.
It's like everything hurts. Your
Oh
legs
my
are toast.
God.
Dude, it would take me days. Even back then, it would take me a couple days to recover from those
Oh, it was
matches.
awful, dude.
Climbing up and down mountains with like 30 pounds of gear on all day, right? It's like, I'm not an athlete. Like, I was overweight then. I'm overweight now. I got in shape when I wasn't playing Airsoft.
Yeah.
And those days are long gone now, too.
Oh my God. But yeah, dude, it was so fucking funny. Just be like, all right, we're going to get back into this. I'm feeling really good. And then day two.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, oh, man, because like, I mean, it's like, we played a ton of Arma together, and like now we're
Yes.
playing a ton of Helldivers, and it's like those games though are like they scratch that same itch, right? Where it's like just you and your buddies just going out and just like you get to pretend, playing pretend army man.
Exactly.
Right.
With zero
Yeah.
consequences.
Right, with zero consequences, and I'm not sore the next day.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. There's been a couple of Helldiver sessions. My fingers are blistered.
Dude, for real,
on
I had
fire.
to switch my run button to toggle so that I'm not holding the shift key down all the time because my pinky was getting so sore.
That's
Because
so
we've been playing
fucking
so much
awesome.
Helldivers. It sounds so lame, but I just switched the run button to toggle because my pinky was getting sore.
It's getting older. Great.
Dude, I feel like it's like every 6 months I have some like new thing where I'm like, oh, that hurts and it didn't used to. Or like, oh, I guess I can't eat that kind of food anymore because like
Yes.
my body just hates me afterwards. It's like, we're not that old. I'm only 32. It's like, oh my God.
Or like something, it just does, I don't recover quickly from something like something that used to happen a lot with I have a thing on my foot. It's a weird ingrowth. No, just kidding. But there's some weird muscle spasm I used to get. And it'd last like 30 minutes. I'm like, well, that was weird. And then move on. And now it'll be like 12 hours. And I'm like, well, that's new that it just stays now forever. This is great.
Yeah. Don't get old, kids.
I know. It's not worth it at all.
I don't know. I have been trying to work out again more. I got like a setup in my garage now. It's going okay.
Yeah.
I was just like, go ahead.
I was saying, I mean, you're naturally just handsome enough that it's okay,
Oh, well, thank you.
Of course. I mean, I haven't seen you in a while, but.
Oh, God, I know. It's been.
I remember
It's probably been a
very handsome
decade
boy.
since we've actually hung out in person, but like, we still game all the time. We were doing Arma for years.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Is I'm trying to remember if we started playing Arma with airsoft, or was it a couple years after we'd kind of left the scene, or you'd left the scene that I'm trying to remember if we reconnected over Arma or if we'd already been playing it. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't get Arma until I didn't really get into Arma until I was in grad school, and that's when I was definitely done with airsoft by then.
Oh, I know what it was, because I was posting screenshots all the time on Facebook, and we're Facebook
Yeah,
friends. So it was a reconnection. That's right.
Oh man, missed those days.
Oh man, dude,
Arma was fun.
So good. I can't.
It's like it's fun when it works.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
It was so frustrating getting it working though.
Oh my god, dude. I'm trying to see, when was this? 2016 maybe? Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's when I was in grad school. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
there was a couple years there.
2015 to 2017. So yeah.
A couple years without you in my life, and then you came back to me.
Then we came back.
And then
reunited, and it feels so good.
Oh, the best, yeah. Well, speaking of Arma though, is you were always like our close air support, right?
Oh yeah.
Where did the desire for flight come from? Because you have like an awesome setup now. Where did this start?
I have always been a huge aviation nerd. My dad was a pilot.
There it is.
My dad, he was a pilot. He flew single engine planes. He did acrobatics in single engine planes, like Cessnas and whatever. He hang glided, he skydived, he rode motorcycles. My dad used to do so much crazy shit. And then as soon as I was born, my mom was like, nope.
Never again.
No more. You're done. So I never got to experience that. But like even growing up though, like after, when I was really young, after like the baby phase or whatever, my dad really got into RC, like RC planes and stuff. 90s kind of period. And he was really into like, RC planes and helicopters and stuff. And as like a 4-year-old, when you can go out with your dad and fly a plane, that is like the coolest thing ever, right?
Oh yeah.
Like your mind is blown. And I've just always been a huge aviation and like space travel nerd, because like just through my dad, really, because like he was an engineer. He like worked on NASA programs. I'm an engineer now, and I work on that sort of stuff too. And I've just always been a huge aviation buff, and so like any game that has planes in it, I'm just like instantly hooked on. Like all the Ace Combat games that were like on PS2. I loved all those. One of the very first games I remember playing ever was something my dad got, which was this like trainer for like DOS. Where it came with like an RC controller with like a 40 billion pin serial connector that you would plug into your computer, and it was called RC Aero Chopper, and it was like a flight sim for RC planes that you could play on your computer. And my dad used it to practice, right? Because back then, they didn't have drones with like stability control and like all the digital stuff. Now it was like these really big, really expensive, like gas-powered RC planes, and like if you crashed it, like it was done. Like it was a smoldering pile in the ground if you crashed it, right? And that's just all your money gone.
Oh yeah.
So he got this PC game or program, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't really a game. It was a game to me because I was a kid. Of flying RC planes, and then like finally I got old enough where like he would let me like try flying his and whatever. And like growing up, before we moved to Colorado, we lived in DC, or outside of DC in Maryland. So like we'd go to the Air and Space Museum all the time, all the different air museums around there. I remember one time me and my dad snuck into like the Coast Guard Aviation Museum. Like we were just like we were driving down the highway and we saw like a big tail, and like I want to say it was like the tail of like a C-130 like sticking up over the trees, and it's painted bright orange because it's like a Coast Guard search and rescue thing. And my dad's like, "Oh, that's cool."
Let's go.
We pull over. So we pull over and then like walk through the trees for like 30 yards and just like start walking around like in the outside area of this museum. And like now looking back as an adult, I'm like, oh yeah, me and my dad totally just snuck into this museum.
That's so badass.
Yeah, so that was a good time. But yeah, I mean even now it's like, yeah, any game that has aviation, I'm super into. Like Arma, like the one thing that really got me hooked on Arma is like, as much as playing on the ground with you guys is like I just love to fly air support, right? Like A-10s, attack choppers, like all that stuff.
Well, and you're really good at it on top of it. The amount of times we'd already be playing and like your name would pop up in the server. We'd be like, oh, fuck yes, we're saved. And we'd all quickly change our loads to have like IR lasers and shit on it. We're like, all right,
like
let's call some targets, you know? Oh, just knowing you'd be there was so good.
That's still what I do. And like, I play a lot of DCS now and, combat flight sim stuff. And it's like, that's still what I do in DCS, like constantly. Like I got DCS when the pandemic started because I was like, oh, I'm finally at home enough to get into this crazy detailed flight sim where you have to know every single switch and button in the cockpit of an F-16.
Yeah, dude. Right. And watching you play that, it was so when you were streaming that in Discord, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. And like I love it. I think like I've only had DCS like I've only been into a few years, and I have like over 1,000 hours in it now. Like that for a long time, like especially with COVID and being stuck at home, that's like all I did in my free time was play DCS.
So when did you start buying all the HOTAS and shit, all the joysticks and all that stuff?
So yeah, it was the fall of 2020. When like you still couldn't go outside, still couldn't do anything. And I had a friend who he had been into DCS, like he had been into some sim stuff. He plays DCS, he plays Star Citizen, not EVE Online, what's the other one?
Elite Dangerous?
Elite Dangerous, that's it. Yeah. And he was getting me into it. And then the other big one, that the game that was coming out at that time was Star Wars Squadrons.
Oh, yes.
And I loved Rogue Squadron games as a kid, right?
Yes.
Aviation and Star Wars, what's not to like? Like, I played more of those games than anything else I can remember back in the day, the Star Wars Rogue Squadron games. So I remember I started looking for one, like a flight stick setup, and I bought like a really basic one, right when I started, and they were hard to find at the time because like so many people were getting into it with COVID and being stuck at home. Like it was impossible to find like a flight stick setup, and like they were going for like 5 times MSRP on eBay, and like it was crazy. And I eventually bought one on Amazon for like way too much,
Like when the right fucking Twinkie was going out of line, and everyone was selling boxes of Twinkies for insane money.
Like hoarding toilet paper. God. And, oh my God. I still have like a crate of soap that I don't know what to do with.
Dude, I had a guy on my route during COVID that was like, hey man, I work in the industry. He's like, I can score you a box of gloves if you need it. I was like, what? Like shady, like on the corner. I'm like, for gloves? Are you kidding me right now?
Oh man, dude, those times were crazy.
Oh, I miss COVID.
But yeah, I know, being stuck at home and with nothing to do except play video games, fantastic.
Well, I didn't get that. Because I worked at the post office. But what I got was that like month where no one was allowed to leave their house. So this is when I was still down in Denver, no traffic. No one wanted to leave their house to talk. So no one ever came out and complained or sat there and talked about their neighbors that I don't care about. And I got to just show up, do my stuff, and go.
Do your route, be done, and go home.
And it was before everyone figured out online shopping when they were stuck at home. Mm-hmm. So it was like I had less parcels.
Must have been hell.
Oh yeah, dude. Once people realized I can just order everything, that sucked.
Ooh.
But that was so nice. It was so. Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, flight sims. So I got a like really cheesy like entry level setup. Around the time Star Wars Squadron came out. Then I tried DCS because like the base game is free. Like you can just download and just play. And there's 2 free planes and a free map that's really good. And I still even play those even now that I have like all this money invested in like other more advanced modules and like all the crazy like high fidelity maps and stuff. I still go back and play the basic stuff because it's just that good. And that just got me like super hooked. And from there it's like, I started getting like the more advanced planes where like you really got to like, start to learn like all the detailed systems, like know every switch in the cockpit sort of stuff. And like at a certain point, it's like with like those really basic, like kind of cheesy like flight sticks, it's like you really do kind of hit a wall of like what you can do in the sim with it. Cause like you don't have enough places to like map all your buttons. Like the accuracy of the stick inputs like isn't enough. If you're trying to do like really fine control stuff, like air-to-air refueling and things like that, like you really just can't do it with unless you have like a decent stick, unless you spend like just like OCD amounts of time
Yeah,
trying to
fine tuning
perfect it.
everything exactly.
But like at that point, I was like, I knew I was really into it. I loved it. It's like, all right, this is like going to be worthwhile, like for me to invest in like a better setup. So I've kind of just been like slowly piecing one together over time.
Well, that's the best way to do it. Yeah, I remember I haven't played it in a minute, but I need to get it reinstalled. It's just a huge game file. But I'm a huge Star Citizen player, right?
I do have Star Citizen. I haven't tried it since I got my flight stick set up.
Oh, dude, you got to try it with the flight sticks.
Yeah.
But so I played forever, just mouse and keyboard flying in there, and then I got my friend. I don't know if you ever played anything with Gunbait.
Yeah. We did some stuff together. I think
right, he did get an Arma. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so me and him would play Star Citizen fucking every day. All the time. There's one day we're like, yeah, we're just gonna play for a couple hours, and like, luckily my wife wasn't mad at me, but I realized I'm like, we just played for 14 hours straight. This is a problem. Really bad problem.
Oh man, that would happen with me with Arma. Like when I was playing.
Oh yes.
Remember the 107th Cavalry server where like you could do like air transport and stuff. And,
and the missions were just like done, like everything just kept flowing so beautifully.
Yeah, I remember there was one time I like sat down at like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. It's like, oh, I'll play some Arma for a bit, and then it's like 8 p.m. Just like suddenly 8 p.m. and I'm like, oh, I didn't eat. I didn't like do anything that day.
Well, what's interesting with that is because a lot of the people that are on that server also have the same thing. So it's not like you see so many different names coming through. You're like, oh, I think time's passed. Like you're seeing the same people flying helicopters and like making commands. You're like, yeah, we're just in this little pocket dimension of time together.
Oh man, we still need to get Tanner in for like an Arma and Airsoft.
I do.
Like special edition.
I absolutely
need to
agree.
work on that. Either like go back and play Arma or get a podcast.
I still have it installed. I don't think I ever uninstalled it.
Yeah, I mean I don't have that much hard drive space, so like because DCS is like 400 gigabytes or something.
Well, we had a time where every time I uninstalled it because we hadn't played in a while, with like the next day, like suddenly my DMs would blow up like, "Hey, we should play Arma this weekend." I'm like, "Oh, God damn it, I better reinstall it." So after that happened like 8 times, I was like, "I'm just never uninstalling it."
And it's one of those games too where it's like you can't just jump into play. It's like an hour of setup before you even start playing the game.
Yeah,
because like you gotta play like Barbie and like get your guy all dressed up and like pick your stuff out.
Well, just connecting to the server is 15 minutes.
You gotta find a server that you're not gonna crash out of in like 5 minutes. Yeah.
Are our mods acceptable here? Okay. Will they accept the briefcase nuke? Okay, we can stay in the server.
Yeah. Briefcase nuke and nuke rounds for the Barrett 50 cal.
So fucking ridiculous. But what I was talking about earlier with the Star Citizen stuff is eventually I finally got, it's a pretty cheap setup, but like the joystick and then a separate throttle with buttons all over it and stuff. Oh my fucking God. Like, dude, it was a learning curve, but like once I figured it all out, I'm like, I've never had, and I loved flying already. And I was like, I've never loved flying in this game more than I do now.
Yeah. Oh, man, dude, we should try some Star Citizen sometime. I'd be down to try it out again. If you want to come over to DCS, man,
I'll try.
It's free to download.
How was I was going to ask you talking about it, that Star Wars Squadrons game. I kept meaning to try it. I never got into it.
It was really good. The thing is, it was like it came out. It had a campaign that was like pretty short, but you could tell it was like multiplayer focused. And the campaign was fun. It let you try out all the different ships and stuff. Learn the game mechanic. It's basically a tutorial for the multiplayer.
Yeah.
And man, it was so much fun for like 2 months, and then it just totally died. Like player base just completely dropped off. And
sucks.
It was like it was one of those things where it's like, everyone complains, or they put it out. It was a single A or double A title, whatever the publishers want to call it, where like it was a $40 game, and they were like, here it is. It's not gonna have like it's not gonna have like a crazy life cycle. It's not gonna really have any updates. Like here it is, have fun. But it was this great online game with like all these different ships, and you could customize them, and you could customize how your pilot looked, and there was different game modes and all these different maps and all these things. And they were just like, oh, okay, here you go. Here it is. It's out. Moving on. And it was like, all these devs these days, all these game publishers and all these developers these days are trying to find like their golden goose of games as a service. And here was one that EA just like shit out and were like and didn't care about, and it was perfect for it. Like
yeah, that's how it always goes.
I would have spent all my money on Star Wars Squadrons if they had supported it for more than like 2 months. Because it was just like you're just flying around in the cockpit of an X-wing with the John Williams soundtrack blasting while you manage your shields and your lasers and your engine power, and it was like, oh my god, it was so cool. And then they were just like, oh yeah, 2 months, it's done.
There you go.
I think there was like one content release. Yeah, there was one content drop like in the whole life cycle, and that was it. I'm sure there's still people that play it.
Screenshots, and I'm just like, because I remember watching trailers and be like, I'm never going to play another game in my life. And then for some reason, I never touched it, as happens every time anyone watches a game trailer, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
dude, the TIE Fighter cockpit here, I'm looking at that, I'm like, I mean, the amount of things you could like, even if they just had something dumb like a battle pass, to like put on, different screens,
just cosmetics,
bobbleheads to put on there, or.
I know it's crazy. I still talk about this and like with my other friends who game and stuff, where it's like for every single like shitty game as a service or live service game that comes out that dies within like a couple months because no one cares about it. Here's one that would have been perfect that tons of people would have loved, and it had a huge player base when it did come out, but it just died off so quick because it didn't have any support. And it's like, are you kidding me? It's
people
like
want stuff.
How could they have not seen this, right?
Yeah, and then they come out and go, no one likes Star Wars games. So that's just impossible.
Yeah. Have you been watching the new show, Acolyte?
I have not touched it yet. I need to. I've watched all the shows. I've heard very interesting things.
It is interesting. I do like it. I will say I do like it, but okay. I believe I do have valid criticisms of it. And try not to be spoilery since you said you haven't watched it, but it's like some of the like it's a really cool premise. I do really like a lot of the characters in it. I think it's very well. I think some scenes are very well acted,
okay.
and others are very bad.
Got you.
I wouldn't even say they're bad. It's just that the not badly acted. It's kind of like the same problem that the prequels had, where some of the dialogue is just so bad, and you're just like, who wrote this? Like, how did this not get like checked by somebody, right?
Well, it's interesting because all I've seen obviously is all like the clickbait, fucking articles.
Yeah, all the rage bait.
They've undid all the story of the prequels and nothing's canon now and blah 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 blah.
No, it's not like that at all. I don't have any problems with the story so far. I think it's really cool. I think it's a cool premise.
I'm glad to hear that. It's tough to find Star Wars people that are like, this is the story and I enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I know. That's how I try to stay about everything. Yeah. Where it's like, especially with Star Wars, because I love Star Wars. Like I can't even remember the first time I watched Star Wars. Star Wars has just always existed for me, and I've always loved it.
Exact same boat.
And like, but the thing is, it's always been janky. It's always been weird. It's always had bad dialogue.
Yeah.
It's always had weird effects.
That's like, part of it.
That's just what it is, right? It's like Star Trek, right? It's like, it's like a janky, like retro sci-fi thing at this point. And it's like, all these people who think that they're like entitled to this like Game of Thrones level production for like a family franchise. It's just like,
that's the key point right there is people forget. Yes, people forget it's a family franchise. It's
right.
You're supposed to be able to watch
family
it
show
with your kids. Yeah,
they're not gonna have Luke like out there like disemboweling Kylo Ren or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, well, it's like it's for kids. It's meant to sell toys, right? Like,
yeah. Well, and every and I'm sure when the original trilogy came out, there was a big group of people that hated it. And then and like I remember, when the prequels came out, that's what I grew up with. I remember going to the theater for those and loving them. And then everyone shit on them online. And now we're at a day and age where all of us grew up, and now everyone's like, I love the prequels. And it's like, and then the sequels,
Right. I'm waiting for that to happen with the sequels.
Yeah. There'll be a generation of kids that grow up that are like,
years.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and it's like it was tough not to fall into because you spend as much time online as we do. like it's tough not to let that kind of jade your mind. And I remember like going to see the sequels with my mom, and she's the ultimate Star Wars nerd. She got dragged with her uncle to go see the first one, episode 4. And he dragged her to see, what was that? 2001: A Space Odyssey. And she was like, I want to kill myself. This is the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life. Right. So he's dragging her to this Star Wars thing. She's like, oh God, here we go. Another slow, just overly dramatic sci-fi bullshit thing, you know? And she's like, and just from the get-go blown away. Right. And I remember going to see, what was it? Episode 6. I don't remember what it was called. No, 7, sorry. Episode 7. And like it ended, and I'd read a bunch of stuff beforehand because it was hard not to. And like I was sort of jaded. I was like, yeah, I can't believe they made, you know, and like
Solo. Yeah, well, that's not how I would write the story.
And she was just like, wow, like that's just blown away by everything. And she just was like, that's the story that happened, because she had this whole like, life doesn't go your way. This is how the story happened, you know, like. It's not she was just totally like, it's not my job to like be against what was written. It's like, well, that's how the story went. And I loved every second of it. And I was like, yes, you're right. That's what we should just be doing. Like, life happens in space life, in fake life or real life.
It's just a movie.
It's just a movie.
Just a TV show.
It's entertaining. Right? It's fun. I got to see lightsabers and blasters and hear the Millennium Falcon fly. What more do you want?
Right. It's like, yeah, I just want to see wizards with laser swords.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm happy.
Space wizards with laser swords. Why is that so hard for people to understand? It's funny you mentioned 2001, because that's also my dad's favorite movie, and I think it is boring as shit.
Yes.
Like, I don't get it. Don't know. Like, I've even like I've read all these synopses about the plot and the book and like what the meaning of the ending is and all this stuff, and I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, who wrote this?
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah, of course.
I've never actually watched it because my mom hated it so much that I was like, I don't need to watch this.
I mean, like, I feel like it's probably one of those things where you should watch it just so you can like understand all the like cultural references that come from it.
Yeah.
Or just like find like a best of clips like montage on YouTube.
Well, because I know there's definitely like some quotes that are used by everybody anymore, you know, that I've probably definitely used without seeing it, but
right. Yeah, but
glorious.
Man, Star Wars. I am enjoying Acolyte though.
Okay, good.
I like it. I do have some valid criticisms of it, but I am enjoying it.
Good, because like Ahsoka was one of the best things they've ever done. That was incredible.
Yes, but it's funny. It's funny you talk about how your mom, you know, like her impression of it and stuff, because like, you know, going back to my dad, like he's big into sci-fi, and like I'm sure he was the one who got me into Star Wars, like when I was like 2 or 3 and can't even remember. But like, yeah, like every time we hang out, you know, if there's a new Star Wars show, we're watching together because he doesn't bother watching them on his own. And I remember we were watching Ahsoka, and like for me, it's like I've seen Clone Wars, I've seen Rebels, I've seen all this all the other stuff that's not just the movies. Yeah. Right? You know, it's like, you know, my dad, he's like in his 60s. He's not going to go watch a children's show from 20 years ago.
No.
Right? That explains the backstory of like who Ahsoka is and why she's an important character. And, you know, all the stuff with Rebels and whatnot. And like, I remember we were watching it and I was like, dude, I was like talking to him. I was like, do you want to watch like a recap thing on YouTube so you can understand what's going on, or like, you know, like understand who the characters are and where they're coming from? And he's like, oh no, that's okay. You know, it's like, I just try not to think about it that much.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, okay, yeah, cool. Here's just like this chick with a weird head and 2 lightsabers.
Well, that's what's fun is I knew of the characters and stuff, but I never watched all the extra stuff either. Ooh. And being in that mindset, even me and my wife, neither of us had watched it. And so just watching the show as those people, we're like, this is the greatest thing ever. Like, we're crying, we're cheering.
I would say if now that you've seen Ahsoka, I would say going back and watching Clone Wars and Rebels, it would probably make them better. Yeah. Now that you've seen Ahsoka. Because I also really thought Ahsoka was cool. I thought the way they did Thrawn was so awesome. Like, I read so many Star Wars books as a kid.
Well, they did such a good job of like making him, like, before you even saw him, like the build up to him without knowing what his character was. I was like, oh my God. That's why I think they did such a good job with this, because as a standalone thing, you still got the feels. And I'm sure being someone who watched all the extra stuff, it was, tenfold.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, and then, all the little like tiny Easter eggs and stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Too. Like those are fun.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple scenes where I was like, I bet if I knew what that was, I'd be really freaking out now.
All the glub shittos in the background. You're like, oh, it's that guy. Oh man. He's in live action now.
Huh, interesting. That was a voice line that sounds like I'd be freaking out if I knew what it meant. Yeah.
I'm excited to see where the rest of the show goes. But yeah, I mean, people on the internet are just so insane these days about everything. Stupid. It's just like whenever I read the internet comments for anything, I just assume that it's like it's either written by someone who's 12 years old or it's coming from a Russian troll farm.
Yeah,
like that's that. As soon as I go into the comment section on any website, it doesn't matter. It's like that's my first. Yeah, that's the thought I keep in the back of my head. It's like this is either a 12-year-old kid that doesn't know anything about shit, or it's a Russian troll just trying to piss people off.
Oh yeah, no, it used to be like, oh, if movie critics hate this movie, I'll probably love it, and now it's like, if everyone online hates it, I'm probably gonna love it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Did you ever watch Argyle? It's not Star Wars.
No, I remember seeing the trailers for it. No, I did not see that though.
That was one that the internet shit on so hard that I was like, well, I don't know, maybe I'll see it.
Yeah.
And my wife was one who's like, no, babe. Every time people online hate it, we love it. So we sat down and watched it, and God damn it, I fucking loved that movie.
I mean, it's got Henry Cavill. What's not to like?
It's got everyone in it, and it was so much fun. I don't know if people just expected this like uber realism spy movie, and it was more along the lines of where the Kingsman, where that was over the top.
Yes, exactly.
It was that, right?
Yeah,
and so it was
I feel like
I love this.
There's just been this like thing with like either TV or movies where like everyone expects everything needs to be like Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad now.
Yes.
Or Sopranos or
it's you're not a real TV connoisseur if it's not
like nothing can be like lighthearted and campy anymore. Like everything has to be super gritty and dark, and everyone hates each other and all this shit. And like I think as much as I love Andor, it is like my favorite Star Wars series for sure. I feel like it raised the bar so much for Star Wars and what Star Wars can be that it's like the other aspects of Star Wars that weren't in Andor are now like have been like relegated, right?
Oh yeah.
And people are like angry that like, oh, here's this like lighthearted show about some Jedi and it's like super campy and it's kind of like this goofy murder mystery. And it's like, oh, but it's not like
Star
super
Wars.
Dark and gritty and doesn't have like an Oscar-winning actor in it like Diego Garcia and whatever. Oh man,
you just stuff's not going to be dark if you don't also have campy movies. If everything's dark, then nothing's dark anymore.
I really hate that trend in shows. Like I know, do you watch The Boys?
Oh, a little bit, yeah.
See, I just like the whole premise of it just turns me off so much that like I don't even want to give it a try because I'm like I hate the shows that are like trying to subvert what you know. And it's like, oh yeah, here's this show about superheroes. Like I love all the Marvel movies and comic books stuff and all that. And it's like, oh yeah, well, you like Superman? Well, our Superman's gonna fuck your mom.
Yeah.
And it's just like
I think that was an actual trailer for the show.
He's gonna fuck your mom and rip your girlfriend's guts out of her chest. And it's like, oh my god, like why? Why can't we just have a fun superhero show? Why do they have to be terrible? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I treat media like movies and TV as like I lean super hard into the escapism aspect of it. It's
same. Well, it's like
there's enough crazy shit in my life. Yeah. There's enough terrible things in the real world going on that I have to deal with because that's just life. I don't also need that in my entertainment,
Oh yeah. Just enjoy shit. Like that's the whole it's entertainment it's in the fucking title of the whole industry.
Video games, movies, and all that.
Time.
What are some games coming out? Because there was just a bunch of trailers dropped. What are some games coming out that you're looking forward to?
Well, obviously the new Dragon Age game. I'm gonna no life it.
Okay.
Dragon Age is one of my favorite.
I never got into
series.
Dragon Age, but I do love Mass Effect.
Good.
BioWare
that's
and all
right.
that.
Yes. You even if you only play Inquisition, I think it's worth it. The second game is not my favorite. There are people that love it. I hated the second. Not hated. Hate's a strong word. I disliked the second game. The first game holds a special place in my heart, but Inquisition is absolutely incredible. But yeah, the new Dragon Age game, which is also getting a shit ton of hate online, which I don't get. Just I don't know what they expected.
Yeah,
but
it's just how the internet is.
Yeah, it looks like a Dragon Age game. Like I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, so I'm very excited for that. What other ones were announced? That was kind of the only one I was really. Hold on, let me find a list of all the.
I will say I am hesitantly optimistic for the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake.
That does look pretty good.
The fact that it doesn't have Kojima on it makes me nervous, and the fact that they're like reusing all the dialogue and stuff from the original game, and it just kind of makes me worried that it's like, oh yeah, it's just going to be like a just slapping in 4K textures over everything and not actually improving it sort of deal.
There was a new trailer for Star Wars Outlaws, and the more I watch of Outlaws, the more I'm actually really excited for it. It looks really
I haven't
fucking
seen those
fun.
yet. I need to. I know me and Beard were talking about it on the channel the other day. How like, yeah, I don't hate the Ubisoft open world formula, but like I also don't need to go spend $60 on a new release for it.
Yeah, exactly. That's one that definitely like you guys were talking about. Let's wait a year and spend $20 on it.
Yeah, it looks cool. I've seen some of the trailers. I've seen the trailers. I haven't seen the gameplay. I'll admit.
Yeah,
but I should probably go do that.
Well, it seems like it'll be a little less like it's it'll be open worldy like Ubisoft does, but not like I think what was the Viking Assassin's Creed Valheim or no
Valhalla.
Why did I say Valheim? That's a different game. Valhalla. I love Assassin's Creed games. They're some of my favorite games. I never get tired of playing them. I super love them, and I'm a completionist. And that game had so much extra shit in the world that it broke me.
See, I like
the
older Assassin's Creed games. I don't like the new ones that are RPGs, like RPG fighters. Like I want to like jump through bushes and stab people. Like I don't want to be having sword fights. Like I hated those parts of all the other Assassin's Creed games because they weren't designed for it, and they're like super, like the sword fights are super clunky.
Yeah.
And actually, Brotherhood had a really good sword fight system.
Brotherhood was really good.
Origins,
Origins is one of my
2
favorites.
and Brotherhood are my absolute favorites.
Yeah.
I started Origins and never finished it. I did play Odyssey all the way through.
I didn't touch Odyssey.
Yeah. I'm very excited for the new one, Shadows, where it's like back to feudal Japan and you're a ninja. Like that's the Assassin's Creed I want, right? Like I want the stealth action. I miss stealth action games so much. That's a whole genre that's just like totally died.
If they ever announce another Splinter Cell game, like nothing else matters.
No, I will. Oh God, it's been so long since the Splinter Cell game came out. Those are some of my absolute favorite games.
Dude, absolutely.
In like middle school, high school. Oh man, Chaos Theory. You can still go back and play Chaos Theory today.
And it holds up beautifully.
It is still fantastic.
Agreed.
The level design, the controls, like everything.
Well, back to Assassin's Creed real quick. I remember. Like, was it not Brotherhood? Revelations was the last Ezio game, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember playing that one and being like, man, this would be so cool to do Assassin's Creed in like Egypt and like Japan and Vikings would be so cool. And like all of those have come true now. It makes me so happy.
I think my favorite was Black Flag just because of like the
pirates.
The ship battles. Oh my God. The ship combat in Black Flag. Nothing is
and they've tried to make 8 games out of it since.
Yeah. And thing is, it's like I think it worked at the time because it was
revolutionary.
New.
Yeah,
it was revolutionary at the time the game came out. Now, like what, 10 years later, 10, 12 years later, it's kind of like okay, it's pretty rudimentary compared to like.
I remember even playing through Origins, they had some of that in Origins too.
Yeah,
and I was
same in Odyssey.
And I was like, the first time it popped up, I was like, oh, really? This again? And then when they announced that, what the not Black Flag, what's their pirate game that isn't doing well that they finally released after
Skull and Bones.
And when they announced that, I was like, I bet it's going to be just the pirate
reusing the same stuff over and over and
there
over.
It is. I was like, oh, great.
Yeah. I wish Ubisoft would hire some more creative people. I do really enjoy their games as much as people shits on Ubisoft. I really do actually like a lot of their games. Yeah, they
what
just
was it?
like
Division
they
2
just get
was
repetitive.
I
Yeah,
put so many hours into the Division games,
yeah.
all the Assassin's Creed games. Again, Outlaws is going to be super fun.
Mhm,
Because I don't think it's going to be as open worldy collectible, but there'll still be a lot
mhm.
of it going on there. But and then obviously, Assassin's Creed with ninjas looks so fucking good.
Right, like
Some of that
that's what I've
stealth
always
gameplay
wanted
looks
from Assassin's
incredible.
Creed. Yeah, if there's ever another Splinter Cell, or like if somehow Kojima gets to make another Metal Gear Solid game, like, oh man.
And then the only other one that like really popped out to me was the new Monster Hunter.
Okay, I never got into Monster Hunter. That was kind of like a franchise I just like totally missed out on somehow.
Yeah, well, that's the what was not the one that was like on the Switch. The one before it, Monster Hunter World, I think, is that what it was?
Yes,
Was the
yeah.
first one I played, and I got to it a little late. Like everyone was playing it, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll try it. And then when I got into it, I was hooked, but everyone had already stopped playing by then.
I mean, that's what happened with me in Helldivers, right? Is like it came out and everyone just started playing it. And like I hadn't heard anything about it until it came out.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I never even heard of the first one.
That's not surprising.
And then there's like all this stuff when the second one comes out, and people are like, oh yeah, it's like Starship Troopers. Oh yeah, it's like all these, everything that game references: Starship Troopers, 40K, Star Wars, Star Trek, whatever, every
it's
sci-fi
all
thing
there.
ever. Yeah. And then like everyone starts playing it, and I'm like, okay, I could, like, I'm seeing some gameplay, and I'm like, okay, I get into this. It looks pretty funny, and like the whole like meta narrative going on with like, oh yeah, Super Earth, it's like this crypto fascist state, whatever, blah blah blah, satire. But yeah, I didn't know anything about it, and then like everyone started playing it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get it, and I'm just like so hooked, right? It's like we just play like for hours, like every day now.
Oh yeah.
Even on days where I'm like, I'm gonna go off and do something else besides play Helldivers tonight, and then someone says like, oh hey guys, I'm getting on. Who
Anyone
wants to
diving?
play?
Son of a
And
bitch, I'm
Yeah,
in.
you son of a bitch, I'm in. Right when I think I'm out, they
They
pull me back
in. Well, that's what's like. I played the first guy. I think it was actually Lex. Did you ever meet Lex with Airsoft? Yeah. Well, no, not with Airsoft. You played.
I know we
Arma
played
with him a
Arma
lot.
together. I feel like he must have been in one of the games I went to. Yeah.
But so he brought me and Tango into the first Helldivers, and we played that quite a bit. And I got it's obviously super fun, right? And then the humor behind it just hooked me immediately. I was like, this is fucking great. And then when they announced Helldivers 2, and it was going to be like a third-person shooter, I was like, that's so fucking dumb. Why would they do this? And then, so I completely threw it off my radar. And then the first gameplay trailer came out, and I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, like I think I just saw the trailer for like the intro trailer, right? Join the Helldivers. The guy, sweet
Look
liberty,
familiar?
no!
Yeah.
Like I saw that trailer. I'm like, okay, I gotta
I'm
get this
in.
game. I'm in. 100%. I'm in. Oh man,
Well,
yeah,
it's just
dude,
been it's just like in the community aspect of it, and like the memes.
right.
And
Like yeah, like your Discord group has never been this popular, and like people have not like ever like talked this much and like communicated this much, and it's not even in Helldivers, right? It's just like it's getting people on the channel.
Oh yeah, and talking.
People are posting
now.
more everywhere. It's so cool.
Yeah, not since like Destiny 2 first launched has like my Discord popped like this before. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like new people joining every day.
All the time. And it's like, you meet someone, you bring them in, or I'll meet someone, and then Beard obviously brings a lot of people in, and then those people are like, I met people and bring them in.
Yeah.
And we're training new people all the time, and it's just like,
yeah, like my friend Nate, like he just got back from Japan, and he's like instantly hooked on it too, and he's like bringing his friends in now.
Yes.
And, like,
well, it's so funny. There was like 2 weeks there. I was like, I think this is finally like we had a sweet spot and it's gone. And then all of a sudden people start joining again, and I was like, hey, never mind, we're back in it, baby.
Yeah. Well, they've just put out that big patch, so it's like
So
tons of fixes, new content, and like.
Well, it's just like, like we're not getting a massive number of like new mission types and stuff, but it doesn't matter because it's just like we're talking about entertainment. It's just
much
fucking fun.
Yeah.
It's I can't remember the last time that there was a game that was just like, I don't have a goal. Well, like there's the goal because you have your major orders and stuff, and you're like helping, with the, the whole galactic war. But like, I'm just logging in, and I don't care what the major order is. I'll follow whoever's going somewhere, and I'm shooting stuff.
I just want to play the game and
great
have fun.
fucking time.
Right.
It's been a long time since a game has just been fun.
Yeah, I can't even think of the last game that was like that, where it's like you can just jump on with your friends. Probably like Halo in 3. When I played Halo 3 in high school with my friends, right? Like Halo 3 and Modern Warfare 2, the first Modern Warfare 2.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, just like you just get home, jump on your Xbox, and just like you don't. It's like you're just playing games. You're just playing multiplayer. There's no, you're not doing whatever. There's no like grinding or anything like that. It's like you're just getting on and just having fun with your friends.
Well, that's what and it just clicked now, but when COVID first hit, Warzone, the Call of Duty Battle Royale, launched their game launched the day after lockdown was announced.
Yep.
You cannot time a game release better than that, right? And it was one of those things where just everyone bought a console to play Warzone. And so you just had people of all different, game sense playing.
Yep.
And just everyone was playing this game. And I think that's the last time I probably was just like, and, eventually you got sweaty and you just wanted to fucking win all the time. But there was a solid 2-3 months of Warzone. It was just like, I'm playing with different people every time I log in because there's so many friends playing. I'm reconnecting with people. I'm meeting new friends, and that's exactly what, that ended. And for 3 years, it was like, man, I'm never going to have that again. And here we are.
It's Helldivers, man. Yeah, it's just like, I think it's just one of those games that it just dropped at the perfect time.
Absolutely.
It's like there wasn't a ton of game releases early this year.
Well, then we've had a lot of back-to-back games as a service games that were just
huge
horrible,
flops.
and it made people go, games as a service is just, it's never going to work. This is an awful idea. The customers don't want this, and then it's like, oh wait, it can work.
Exactly. Like we said, Skull and Bones came out and it totally flopped, and then all the stuff with Overwatch 2 and the big overhaul of the game there, and it's just really struggling to catch on still, and yeah.
Well, and one of my favorite things is still, man, that Beard had the stats on his episode, and I brought this up then too, but whatever the peak amount of players ever in Helldivers 1 was not that high. I want to say 5,000, but it's probably 10,000 or something.
Yeah.
And so when they made Helldivers 2, they're if we ever reach, they're 50,000 concurrent players. That'll be a dream come true for us. And then it was was it 620 was the highest concurrent players they ever had at one time. And it's just
I know. I think I want to say it was
everything
300
out
or
of the
400,
water.
but yeah, and it was higher than Counter-Strike for a day a day or two, wasn't it? Yeah. And nothing beats Counter-Strike.
No, ever. They've been the top for.
God.
Here it is. Yeah, 458,709 concurrent players on February 24th, 2024.
Oh my God.
So less than a month after it released. Oh no, it released in February, right?
I think so. Yeah, somewhere around then. I didn't pick it up for a month or two until after it came out, but yeah.
Again, it's just a small studio that was this will be fun. And if people play it and like it, that's cool. And it's just oh, okay, we're an international phenomenon. This is not expected at all.
Right. I'm so happy for them, man. I everything they've been doing with it has been fantastic. And
and the fact that they're incredible too. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say, the dev support behind it, and and their communication with the player base, and really listening to the player base, and getting their feedback and stuff, right? Where it's a bigger studio just wouldn't care, right? And we've seen that over and over
again.
Where it's at a certain point, there's so many people working on a game at these big studios that it's just there's no face of the game, and there's nobody that owns the game, right? Whereas I want to say the last big game that really happened with was when Overwatch came out, and there was one guy, I forget his name, he left eventually. It's Jeff something.
Oh, Jeff. I should know this. God damn.
And right, but he was the face of all their updates, and he did their content update drop videos on YouTube and
Jeff
stuff.
Kaplan, there it is.
Yeah, right. So yeah, Jeff Kaplan was
the man,
face of Overwatch.
Yeah.
Right, for a while. And now here it's maybe they could be communicating things better rather than trying to split between the Reddit and their Discord and Twitter and all these things. But right, it's they've communicated with the player base consistently, and been really open and stuff, and Like, man, I thought for sure the game was dead after the PlayStation fiasco.
Absolutely.
But like they came back from that, and it was like now the new patch is dropping, and like there's like just as many people back on again now.
It makes me so
like,
happy. Well, that patch was huge. For anyone who doesn't know, anyone who might have like backed off during the whole Sony thing and hasn't come back, there was this huge, giant patch that came out that buffed like every weapon, every stratagem. We got a new war bond that's really good, cool stuff in it, and it's just like I didn't really struggle with all the nerfs. Like it was still fun, but it was like challenging fun. And now there's just so many enemies that it's still challenging, but like you just feel like more badass.
So much chaos now.
Yes. Well, because there's more stratagems that do more things now. So it's like everything. This last week, for a while there, I was purposely choosing something I'd never used for every mission. And it was so much fun to be like, oh, this is what this does. And this works really well. Because there was just the 4 things you'd use every mission, whether it was bugs or bots.
Well, especially on bots. Yeah. It's like you were kind of like really locked into the meta on the bot front. Whereas like you had to have the autocannon, you had to have the orbital railgun.
Yep.
And then like maybe after that, then
Eagle
maybe
Strike.
you could pick a couple of like the basic Eagle Strike. And then like then maybe you could flex your whatever remaining slot was.
But it's like everything can be used now, and it's just it's so great, man.
Yeah,
like,
I don't remember the last time now I took the like regular Eagle airstrike because it's like now there's like the gas strike and the air bombardment and the Gatling orbital Gatling cannon and like all these cool things that we never used because they weren't that good, and now it's like
they're incredible.
Oh man, yeah. I did feel bad. Me and Beard were posting this morning how it's like, yeah, sorry guys, we've been getting kind of salty lately. And like, yeah, we were playing some like really intense games with my friend Nate and one of his friends last night, and we were just like, and they're really new to the game.
Yeah.
And Nate's one of like my best friends. Like I felt so bad afterwards that I was like getting kind of salty and being like, oh man, we gotta run, quit shooting me, God, your team killing us. And it's like,
and Beard's doing beard things.
And Beard's beard, right? But like I don't know, I hate getting salty over games.
Oh yeah,
like, especially with like some of my best friends and stuff. So I was like I was like, oh Nate, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be mean to you. And he just laughed it off. He didn't care. And then I talked to Beard, and I was like, it was funny because I was like, I sent Beard a message. It's like, I think maybe we were getting a little salty yesterday, and he's like. He immediately responds. He's like, "I think you meant I was getting salty yesterday, and yes, you're right." And I'm like, Beard is smarter than he looks. Maybe this really is all about him. No,
and he doesn't look that smart. I'll tell you what.
We love you, Beard.
Shit! Oh, obsessed with you, Beard. But yeah, dude, just like one of these moments where like I remember when Meridia like was gone. Well, not gone yet, but it was like we couldn't go to it because it was a super colony. Well, it was untouchable. And then I remember we logging in one day. You were like, "Didn't that planet used to be blue?" And we're like, "What?" And go over there like, "Oh, it's brown now." Okay,
dude,
that's bad.
They started doing that on other planets now. If you start looking at
I
the
haven't
map,
looked at that. Fuck.
Yeah, Cyberstan looks totally different now.
But yeah, I remember just the little moment of like, "What? Doesn't that planet used to be blue?" What? And now it's a black hole because we imploded the fucking planet, and you can go park in front of it and look at it. It's so fucking
Stare
cool.
into the void.
Rethink your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ponder the void with the homies.
I love it. I love you.
Oh, I love you too, man. It's been good.
It's
been so great. Catching back up.
Yes.
Playing games again. It's like we used to play so much Arma back in the day and all the airsoft stuff. And
what's been nice because like we did the airsoft stuff, and then it was like a couple years went by, and then we're back together for Arma, and then Arma wouldn't happen, and a couple years went by, and it's like boom, here we are, man. Helldivers.
Back in Helldivers. Back at it.
I don't want any more couple-year breaks though. Okay.
Yeah, there was some other stuff. I know I played Warzone with you guys a couple times.
You did.
I think I want to say we probably played Overwatch together a couple times too.
I would assume because I was huge into Overwatch.
Right.
But the main games.
Yeah. I liked Overwatch when it first came out, but like I don't know. Once people started getting sweaty about it, I just couldn't keep up.
It's fun, like it's a great game to like disappear from for 4 months and then come back to for a week. Does that make sense?
Once they've like added a new hero or new maps or whatever.
Yeah, and it's fun when you get your mindset out of the sweaty, like, God damn it, I'm so mad that I didn't win that, to just be like, okay, I'm relearning how to play and this is fun again. And then the second you start getting pissed off, like, all right, time to walk away again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you can just
Dude.
enjoy it, it's so much fun.
Yeah. That's how League of Legends was for me. I played so much League of Legends in college, like me and my friends, because like we'd like hang out, right? You know, we'd like all just like hang out on our dorm and just like everyone bring their laptop and we played League together, like in person, right? Like it was just like a LAN party sort of thing. And like, man, it's like once like once all we graduated and split off and like we didn't have the like in person interaction of just like hanging out and playing together. I was like I was so done with that game. Like just like it just got so frustrating, and like every single match like you had to play like max sweatiness, right? And it's just like I couldn't keep up with it anymore.
Yeah,
League like, even on like the fun modes, even on like the ARAMs and like the modes that were supposed to just be like chill fun modes, people just were just like way too sweaty about it.
Well, and that's that's a whole nother conversation to have where everyone's sweaty in every game anymore. But yeah, League's one of those games I've never played it, and I've never really watched like gameplay of it, but I love like League Rage compilations.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good.
I would struggle getting into it at this point just because like there's just so much to it and the meta is so complicated and there's so many champions and stuff. And like even since I played it, like this was like in college like 10 years ago. Like I remember I tried playing it again like a year or two ago with some friends. I reinstalled it and just like I didn't know what any of the characters did. Like all the characters I used to play had been like totally reworked and had all new abilities and all these different things. Even like characters I had played back then or like played against back then, like they just been changed, like cosmetically changed. So, like I didn't even recognize them anymore. Like I had no idea who I was even going up against. Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know this game anymore. Like this has just changed so much. And then people are still super sweaty and yelling at you in chat for
and expect you to have everything memorized and
right to know how every single champion works and know how to counter every single.
And that's the thing with Overwatch is it's been out so long they've added so many different characters that it's like keeping track of like everyone you're shooting same thing with Apex Legends. There's so many. When I first started playing Apex the day it launched, there was like 6 people you could choose. I think there's like 25 people on that roster now. Right. It's like keeping track of who's who and okay, this squad has this and they'll have this ability and this ult. And it's like, oh, what am I doing? I don't have the brain capacity. And I have to move and bunny hop and shoot and heal and
right.
It's too much for my little old man brain.
Yeah, the super fast paced games like that, I just can't do anymore. It's just like any really anything PvP, I'm just like really not into anymore. You know?
Every so often I need that itch scratched, but it's pretty rare anymore.
Yeah, I'd say like the one PvP game I probably still do go back and play a lot is World of Warships.
Oh yeah, that's a solid choice.
And it's like. Especially after I got into the like World of Tanks and World of Warships, I got into those like as I was leaving League, and it was like, oh yeah, like it's a tough game and there's like a lot of meta and stuff to understand what's going on. But it's like, yeah, if you lose, you're only in a match for 5 minutes, not an hour and a half.
Yeah, you just move on to the next.
You're just not. Yeah, it's like whatever, we lost, move on.
So, you want to jump into some Discord questions here, brother?
Yeah.
All right.
See.
Hell yes. Because there's a lot of these that like I was gonna start asking stuff, and I was like, no, that's a question in the Discord. Nope, I can't ask that. That's a question in the Discord. And people showed up for this one, man. I'm loving how many people are asking questions for every episode that comes out. It's like more people are being part of the process.
Yeah, I finally listened to Rise the other day.
That was a good work. That was a fun one.
That was funny. I liked his answer to my question.
He's a beautiful man.
Very appreciative of it.
It was a good question. That deserved a good answer. Just to start basic though, from that guy Maple, what inspired your current name, Bill Nye's Bowtie?
So, I don't know if there's like a crazy good story for it or not. I could make one up.
Yeah, go for it. There's this bus full of school children that were run away and being attacked by a bear, and you saved the lives.
I mean, growing up, I'm a huge nerd. I'm an engineer. I grew up with tons of science and sci-fi, like we've just talked about for like the past hour and a half or whatever. So of course, I love Bill Nye.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know. It's like I just like I'd been using the gamer tag Frogman since I was like 12 years old. Like
that's what it was. Like, thank you.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember what it used to be
forever. And like I literally just made it up in like 7th grade. And I was like, okay. I was just so sick of using it, and it's like, I need something new after 15 years of online gaming or whatever. And I had named my my internet at my house Bill Y the Science Spy.
That's
And I was
amazing.
like, oh, okay, I could probably do something like that with that,
Yeah.
and like something that people would recognize more, and like wouldn't be like, and it was unique, right? So I was like, God, I swear, like I must have I must have seen that and just thought like, oh yeah, Bill Nye's bow tie, like that's funny and recognizable, and people won't like misspell it or think it's like weird or whatever.
Yeah. Like Long Rod
Especially
von Hugendar.
with like yeah. uh yeah, there's some interesting ones on my Steam friends still. But
The thing that gets me,
yeah.
not to cut you off, is when people change their name and just don't tell anyone, and it's so different than
like,
what they used
who's
to be.
This person?
I don't know.
Right.
Well, I mean, just earlier today, my friend Archer, I met through Airsoft after you. This is when I started getting into all the Loveland Fort Collins stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he changed his name completely and like randomly joined Helldivers. And I was like, I don't know who this is. Beard, is this one of your friends? And he's like, I don't know. Maybe. I had a lot of random people. And then he joined the Discord call. And I was like, oh, it's you. Like, I don't know what your name is anymore.
How did you come up with Elmer Fudd? Because I don't know that story.
Well, Elmer Fudd, which is spelled wrong.
Yes, of course. Copyright.
But I got an Xbox 360. And I was getting ready to play. It was the original Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. And it was my first Xbox account, and I was like, oh, I need a gamer tag, and my dad was legitly watching. I'm trying to remember which. I think it was one of the movies, and it was the one of the opera things, where Bugs Bunny dresses up as the female opera singer.
Oh, the Ride of the Valkyries one.
The Spirit Magic Helmet, Spirit Magic Helmet. Oh,
yes.
And I was like, I fucking love Elmer Fudd. I was like, fuck it. I'll be Elmer Fudd because I just wanted to get in and play.
Right.
And then I typed it in and I was like, oh my God, how is Elmer Fudd not taken? Not knowing that I spelt it wrong and put 2 M's and 2 D's in. That's why it just wasn't taken right away.
Nice.
And I was going to change it like a year later. I was like, all right, I'm in Xbox now. Like I have a gamer tag. And then I was playing a match one night. This is in Modern Warfare 2. And I was playing with a couple super, super drunk Irish guys. And like every time I'd kill someone, they'd be like, oh, Elmer fucking Fudd, look at you go, lad, And it's just like, and I was laughing so fucking hard. I was like, I can never change my name just because of these two guys right here.
Right.
So since like 2006, I've been Elmer Fudd with 2 M's and 2 D's.
Yeah, I wish there was a better story for Bill Nye's bow tie. Other than that,
your Wi-Fi
Bill
name
Nye
was pretty good.
I like Bill Nye, and I want something recognizable that was easy for people to remember. And yeah, I also like how now on Steam you can like just have like a phrase be your username. You don't have to do like weird symbols or whatever. XX49, 469, 420, whatever. Yeah,
those were the days, man.
Put whatever down. Yeah.
Another question from that guy Maple.
All right.
If it's not too late, what's your favorite quote from a video game?
Ooh, I thought about this one a long time.
I love that.
Because I thought that was a really good question.
Great question.
And the very first thing that came to mind was the line in Mass Effect 3, like right when Morden's about to go up to the top of the tower, and he says, "Had to be me. Someone else would have gotten it wrong." And I'm just like, oh, God.
Fuck, dude, that's the feels, dude.
The right in the feels. I love those games. I want the new Mass Effects. I still never played Andromeda. I started it and never finished it.
It's really good.
Yeah, I was just like, but it's not Commander Shepard though.
I know, but again, back to the Star Wars conversation, man. It's just good.
Yeah,
it's just.
I should give it another try.
You should. It's really. That was a hill. I fought so many fucking battles about that game actually being good when it released, because that was one of those that the entire internet did the same thing. Well, it's not Commander Shepard, so fuck this game. And like there was some huge DLCs were going to come out that they just canceled and lost all support. And I was like, but it's good.
That's how I always felt about the ending of 3, where like people were so mad about the ending, and it's like, oh, it undoes all this stuff or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I just played like 30 hours of the greatest game ever.
Yes.
The last 10 minutes just being okay doesn't matter that much to me.
No.
Like, it was fine. And after they went back and fixed it, I thought it was totally cool. Like all this like extra context stuff that they added, I thought it was totally fine. And even at the time it came out, I was like, oh yeah, it could have been better. But the rest of the game was just so good. Like Mass Effect 3 is still one of my favorite games. 2 and 3 are still some of my favorite games of all time.
Bless you so much.
I just went back and played the remaster like last year, and I already want to again.
No, I'm starting my 8th playthrough of the remaster.
Oh yeah.
I'm starting that here soon.
You posted that, yeah. Do you do very important question? Better question for you than for me.
Okay.
Do you play male shep or fem shep?
So I alternate every playthrough.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because they both have I really like both voice actors, and I'll play both. Like the good and bad playthroughs, air quotes. With both, just to get both their variations on everything, and I just love it.
For my main run.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say I always go femshep because Jennifer Hale is like a fantastic
incredible
voice actor.
Yeah, femshep's my favorite, but I do play both.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Okay. Next question.
No, what I was gonna say is this next playthrough, because my last one was femshep, and she was all goody hero two shoes. And now it's time for male shep renegade. So I'm excited for this one.
I've never done a pure renegade run through of Mass Effect.
It's hard. Just because there's definitely moments you're like, but I can't be mean to that person,
Right. Well,
it's
and you
tough.
get like, especially at least in the first one, you get like the worst ending.
Oh yeah.
If you're renegade, same in the second one too. Actually, I think you can.
If you're
you can still
renegade
save
enough
your
in the
squad and
first
be
one,
renegade in
yeah.
two.
If you go far enough renegade in the first one, you can still get Saren to shoot himself and everything. So it's still.
That's what
I remember. I think it was like my 5th playthrough before I realized that was a thing you could do, and I was like, wait, and I did it on accident, and I was like, I could have skipped an entire half of a boss fight. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Well, my quote from a video game is also from a Mass Effect game. It cracked me up when you said Mass Effect 3, but mine is from Mass Effect 2, and this isn't a joke answer. It's legitly, I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite shop in the Citadel.
I thought it was going to be, I'm in the middle of some calibrations.
That's really good too. But no, just because I use that in my, literally every day, I probably quote that. Anytime I get screwed over at work, instead of getting pissed off, I'm like, I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite bullshit in the Citadel. Like, I'll use variations of it every fucking day of my life.
Oh man, that's good.
It sticks with me.
Everything about those games, man, is just so good.
So
First one's still kind of gameplay wise. First one's kind of rough. But
that remaster, dude. 1 was a game that I enjoyed, but it wasn't on my top list. And then when that remaster came out, I played through 1, and I was like, this might be one of my top 5 games now.
They did rebalance it for sure.
It was
like
so good.
I remember the first time I played it, some of the boss fights in that game were like impossible.
Oh
even
yeah,
on, like, normal difficulty. So yeah, they did a good job rebalancing it in the remaster, for sure.
Let's get Beard's question out of the way here. Beard Grizzly, it is a GIF. Who's your daddy, and what does he do?
Who is this? Is this literal? Because like,
yeah.
Okay. Well, I already talked about my dad previously, so yeah,
Yeah.
But
dad, like, what's his name? Social security number, mother's maiden name.
Yeah. His first name, his name's Rob, which is also my middle name, so that's cool.
Perfect.
He retired a couple of years ago. He was a power systems engineer at Lockheed Martin, and he worked on the Hubble Space Telescope program for like 20-something years.
Holy shit.
Through like it's almost its entire lifespan of like when they were still doing shuttle missions and stuff too. And it was so cool, like getting to just like being like really in tune with like what NASA and stuff was doing at the time, and like really being like into like whenever there was like a shuttle launch that involved like one of the servicing missions to it, like my dad was like always like super hyped about it. And like there was times he would like for like work travel, he would like go to Houston and be in the control room at Houston at NASA.
God damn,
like,
that's so cool.
It was so cool. And yeah, he retired a couple of years ago. He's doing good. He's enjoying retirement. He still gets calls from his coworkers telling him that they need to come back and have him work, and he's like, "Fuck no."
That's so
like,
cool,
oh, yeah,
man.
We'll give you a nice contractor fee, and he's like, "Nope, I'm done."
That's it. I've done more than my fair. I'm sure that was a lot of overtime to get everything to work.
Oh God, it's like my position now in the engineering I do is nothing like that. Like it's so crazy what what they would do like back in the day, NASA and stuff, like just to get stuff done.
From the third will, as you are the Bowtie, how did Bill Nye choose you specifically?
Well, like I said, I'm a fan. I know how to tie a bow tie. That's very important. It's a big preliminary hurdle. And I look good on camera, which
Very
is
true.
really what I think matters the most when you're going for dress attire, especially business formal.
That's a good answer, sir.
Yeah.
A much deeper question than that one he just asked from the third will. If you could give one lesson to every generation after you, what would it be?
Don't be a douchebag.
Yeah.
I think that's something that a lot of people in the world need to learn, and that's like been true throughout human history. Is like, not everyone's going to agree with you, and that's okay. Just don't be a dick about it, and just live your life, do your own thing. Don't worry about what other people are doing, and yeah, just don't be an asshole. Don't be a douchebag. Don't be a jerk. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Just be cool. Be excellent to each other.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Beautiful. I would go with something we were talking about earlier, and we were talking about Star Wars. Is let entertainment be entertaining, and don't over nitpick every piece of thing of ever, and just learn to enjoy things. Life sucks enough. Just enjoy what you can.
Yep, absolutely.
Coming in from Blue Laser, my little sister. A couple questions with it. What is your favorite scientific fact?
Ooh, this was a tough one because I did ask her to clarify what branch of science she wanted an answer from, and she said any, which doesn't help
At all.
Yeah. So this is one that it's kind of more like a trivia fact. It's a little history. It's got some science and technology in there too. And that is that a samurai could have sent Abraham Lincoln a fax message.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Due to the time. Yeah.
Just based on the technology available at the time and the existence of Abraham Lincoln, along with the end of feudal Japan prior to the Meiji period, if a samurai had access to a fax machine, they could have sent Abraham Lincoln a fax message. And that is just like the craziest thing, because everyone thinks that like fax messages are some 70s 80s technology, but it's like, no, those have been around like almost 200 years now.
That is insane. Yeah. I love those history facts where you like don't think about like how certain events coincide with other side of the world, like
Right.
Like the Wild West was like this Renaissance like same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shit like that just blows your fucking mind.
Or just like like the timeline of technology and stuff is like kind of it's a lot of stuff that like people don't realize. What was like actually going on at the time, and
isn't like Oxford
what was
older than
capable.
the Aztec Empire, shit like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. Where it's like like people see like the Aztec Empire, the Inca, or the Maya. I'm really bad about which is which, unfortunately.
They all look the same.
Yeah, like you look at those dates and stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, like the Aztec Empire was happening when like Da Vinci was like designing gliders and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
It's crazy.
Yeah, stuff like that. I'm a huge history nerd too, and I love stuff like that as well. And yeah, man, that was a tough question to answer though, but
I think you made a safe bet.
That's where I'm going.
Next question is also going to be a tough one. I'm sure you put a lot of thought into this, but what's your favorite science theory?
Science theory. Ooh. I think the multiverse theory is very intriguing.
Very fascinating.
Because when you I don't want to try and explain it here because I'm going to do a really bad job at it because it's been a while since I've like sat down to like understand it. But like the whole idea of like how upper dimensions could work, like once you get beyond, like 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, and how like theoretically, if we have 3 dimensions, like it would make sense that we have other higher dimensions. And as you begin to unfold the, what higher dimensions mean, you have to get to the point where, it's like, okay, so say, in one higher dimension, it's like, yeah, you have this event occurs. And then in the next higher dimension, you have, okay, well, that event does or does not occur. And then it's like, okay, well, you have that event and it does not occur, or it does occur, and then it occurs over such and such time period or whatever. So it's like, as you begin to unfold that, it's like, assuming it's correct, is that it's like the idea of the multiverse has to exist based on our current understanding of how our 3 dimensions currently work. I have no idea if that's true or not. It's a scientific theory. I could send you a YouTube video that explains it way better than I just did.
I've definitely had some 2 in the morning oh, what's this? And collecting
fall down to YouTube science theory rabbit hole. But that is the theory, because it sounds like science fiction. There's so much science fiction. There's so much in our current pop culture that really dives into multiverse theory and all the Marvel crap and whatever. But it's when you really sit down and look at it and you start to think about how our current understanding of what a physical dimension is, as you begin to expand upon that idea, it's the only logical conclusion that I've ever seen is that yes, there has to be multiverses as well. And that just blows my mind.
Oh yeah, it's it's one thing to hear it, and then when you really start studying it, and then your brain starts going, oh, what this could actually mean. It's every moment in your life is, I wonder what this is doing to this, and is this what
is or is not happening somewhere else?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I decided to get a burrito last Tuesday, but I could have gotten a pizza instead.
Exactly.
What would have happened
if I hadn't gotten that and hadn't had to shit for 20 minutes instead? Would something else have occurred? Because well, when you start looking at, because something I talk about a lot on the podcast is all the little things in life that connect to get you to meet certain people. Mm-hmm. And you're if just, because the amount of times you go, well, I wonder, because what started actually that theory for me was going if I could go back and restart my life from when I was 15 to try to make choices to be more, obviously do the whole what could I do to be more successful, And then you start going, well, I need to do this, but I also need to do this to make sure I meet this person. And that's when you really start going down the how different your life would be if this one person isn't in it because of this one choice you made on this one day to turn left instead of right. And then that's when it opened up to oh, this is a whole theory thing of everything. Oh, great.
Yeah. I also am a strong opponent of the theory of gravity, because I think it'd be really cool if we could all just start floating one day.
Yeah. Just someone flip the switch. Last question from Blue Laser. Does Bill Nye's song play nonstop in your head? She wrote threads, but I assume heads.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wake up in the morning and that's what I hear.
Yeah, when the TV got rolled in at school, it was the hypest fucking day ever.
Best.
And that's one of those moments that just clicks with you forever.
Oh, yeah. And they're all on Netflix now, too, so you can keep reliving that every single day of your life.
Bill. Coming up from Space Lawyer Laz. As a lover of bow ties myself, I'm curious. Do you go for a solid color bow tie, or do you go wild and get plaid and other designs?
You got to go for a pattern for sure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Same boat.
That's true for all types of ties. I'm also a firm believer in that.
I agree.
Plain tie is lame.
My dad's a cartoon character tie guy, and I'm a designs tie.
Oh yeah, for sure. Cartoon character tie, that's a good one. Also a big fan of cartoon character socks.
Yes.
I need to get more of those. I only have a couple pairs, but big fan.
I think it was last Christmas or the Christmas before, my sister got me a pair of Batman socks that actually have the cape coming off the back of them.
Hell yeah.
It's so great.
Isn't it so weird how as an adult you get psyched by socks for Christmas and your birthday?
Yes. Dude, oh my God. Stuff that was a nightmare when you're a kid, as an adult, you're oh my God, please, this would be so great.
Dude, like good socks are expensive too, right? I'm like, man, I wish somebody would buy me a nice pair of wool socks. That's like $30 for one pair of socks.
And as a guy who works outside, wool socks are so fucking great.
For sure.
So good. We got a couple questions from Jules 9090.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's start with this one. What is one game that you will always go back to because you love it, even if you deleted it? She says, I've reinstalled one game over and over and over again, and when I'm not fully playing it, then I get uninstalled till I have that itch again.
I'd say probably the game I have played through the most times would be, that's still available because there's a lot of old games from my childhood you can't even play anymore. Republic Commando.
Yes.
That was it still is the best Star Wars game.
It was phenomenal.
I am still so mad that game never got a sequel. Everything about that game was incredible. The way the AI worked, the missions, the voice acting, the soundtrack. It had a custom soundtrack. They invented the Mandalorian language for that game. It is just like, oh man.
I still instinctively, it was just one of those memories, remember the Game Informer article before that game launched, like telling people about it and the picture, and I was just like, what?
Oh yeah, I remember seeing the trailer for that when I was like 12 or 13 years old. Because I remember the trailer came out, or like the teaser for it came out way before the game released. Like it was a couple of years before the game was released. And just seeing that first teaser, and I was like, oh my god. It's the one where it's like the squad, like it's like first person and they're crawling through like the Geonosis catacombs or whatever, and like putting their flashlights on stuff, and it's like, oh my god, that game, man! I still go back and play it. Like
there
I
are
still reinstall it
games
and play through it every now and then.
that haven't figured out AI squad gameplay like that game had.
Yeah, I can't believe that game never got a sequel, or that like
it's a crime.
Disney and Lucasfilm have not made that sort of thing a priority. Where it's like, again, it's like how, I don't know. I don't understand what Disney's doing with the Star Wars game license. It's like
game license. Yeah, you're right.
There used to be so many good Lucasfilm or LucasArts games.
Dark Forces, come on.
Dark Forces, Rogue Squadron, Galactic Battlegrounds, Jedi Knight, Naboo Starfighter.
Yes, Jedi
Starfighter. Oh my god.
Fantastic. The game for me would be Age of Empires 2, which is funny. This question got asked because I just reinstalled it like a week ago and have played it nonstop the last week.
Well, so that's funny because the Galactic Battlegrounds is Age of Empires 2, but just reskinned with Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. We went to my cousin's house in, I don't know, when did this game come out? 99, I think, Age of Empires 2. They lived in Utah, took a road trip over there for my cousin's wedding, and another one of my cousins was playing Age of Empires 2. And I was like, because I played the Warcraft RTS games growing up. And I was like, what is this? And sat down, and he made me play it. And then I was really enjoying it, obviously. The music is so nostalgic, all the voice lines, you know. But and then he started doing the cheats where he had like the blonde girl in a Corvette with a rocket launcher.
Oh yeah.
You know, and the dog, the birds all turned into dogs with capes. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's just been one of those just hella nostalgia RTS games that every.
What happened to RTS games? I feel like RTS games are just gone now.
There are, I mean, I don't know what the last big one was.
There's still a few. I know. I have played like some betas of some that are coming out.
I think Age of Empires 4 came out like last year or something.
Yeah.
Which I haven't.
That
played
used to
yet.
be such a huge genre that's just like almost.
Not Red. Was it Red? Red Alert. Red Alert was huge. Yep. StarCraft, Warcraft, Command and Conquer.
All the Command and Conquers. Command and Conquer Generals, man. I played the shit out of that too.
Oh, so good. I love those games. You just can't never stop playing.
Yeah.
Next question from Jules. What core memory do you have from gaming that has resonated with you through your life?
Core memory from gaming. Ooh.
Core memory.
Man, that's a tough one. Probably I remember growing up and this is when we still lived in Maryland, and me and one of my best friends growing up, like he just lived down the street and stuff. So like we'd always be going back and forth between each other's houses, and like just like playing PC games together, right? Where it's like, not even multiplayer PC games, but like, we're like 6, 7 years old and we're just like trading off playing the games.
Oh yes.
And stuff, right? And like God, I remember my friend, I did this with a few friends, but the ones that like really come to mind are like I had this one friend, Jimmy, and man, we used to play like the original Super Smash on N64. He's really the one that got me into PC gaming, like really that started my PC gaming, because he had Battlefield 1942.
Yes.
The OG Battlefield. And I remember he and I were just messing around, like we hadn't figured out multiplayer yet. But we're just messing around, playing against bots or whatever. And we figured out the thing that still exists in Battlefield to this day, where you can just drop like bricks of dynamite onto a truck and just drive it towards people and blow the truck up. And it's like, we figured that out when we were in like 3rd or 4th grade, and it was just like the greatest thing ever, right? And God, I think in particular, I remember, my friend Jimmy, we were doing this, and he just starts singing this song, like that he's just making up off the top of his head about like, oh, that like the temptation of like driving your car rigged with explosives into like all the soldiers and stuff, which is like, as an adult, is like so fucked up now. But like, God, I just remember that and just like laughing harder than at that than I had laughed at anything ever. Just like my friend, just sitting in his living room, just singing this stupid song while playing Battlefield 1942. And like, yeah, that's the game that got me started on like, my multiplayer like online gaming thing too. That's the very first game I ever played with like online multiplayer into.
Oh my god, that's so fucking great.
The OG Battlefield.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I didn't get into Battlefield till I guess it was just the next. Vietnam was the second game, right?
Yeah,
that's when
Vietnam
I
was
first got
the
into
second one.
Battlefield.
I also had Vietnam. It's also
Great
incredible.
stories from that. But for me, core memory from gaming, you actually know him, would be Jackal in the Discord. He plays Helldivers with us all the time. Me and him met freshman year of high school is when we became friends. But so we used to do these huge like Halo sleepover parties in his basement, which is funny. Years later, I mean, probably like 4 years ago, he finally found all the pictures he used to take on like the disposable cameras. Mm-hmm. That's what we had back in the day, and post on Facebook. And she's like, "This is what you fucking guys were doing in my basement." She had no idea, right? But so we used to do these huge Halo tournaments, LAN Halo tournaments all the time. People would bring extra TVs. We're hooked up everywhere. We had like a sheet taped halfway up the TV so you couldn't screen peek.
So you couldn't cheat.
Yeah. So there was like a bar in the basement, and it just had fucking every 2 liter you could think of up there, chips, snacks like crazy, like 4 couches with TVs, people standing around just talking. Distinctly remember, just looking, getting a bowl of chips, some soda, and turning, and just like heads bobbing underneath the sheet, looking at the bottom screen, and people screaming, and it's just so much fucking fun, dude.
Oh, man.
And we do that all the time. And then like, because it's one of those where the basement like went out to the backyard, and then like, because it was a slope, so you had the front, the front door was up, and then the back door of the house was out the basement, so we could like leave. And then when the first friend like got his license, we'd all like crawl into his car. That was back when Walmart was open 24/7, do like 3 a.m. Walmart runs. And
we got kicked out of some Walmarts at 3 a.m.
Oh yeah,
in high school, just dicking around. I'll give Jules a 2 for 1 here, because that just reminded me of another incredible core gaming memory where like in high school, me and my friends, we'd like get together on like Friday night after school went out, and I had Rock Band.
Oh,
and
yes.
we'd all get together at my place, and like 10 of us, and we just all take turns passing around the instruments for Rock Band, and like just for like hours just playing Rock Band and just like goofing around or whatever, like me and all my friends, like every single weekend. It must have drove my parents fucking crazy because we were there just like wailing on the instruments and screaming and singing and shit till like midnight, right?
Holy
And like,
shit.
yeah, we did that with Rock Band and Left 4 Dead 2. Played a shit ton of Left 4 Dead 2 co-op.
Oh, Left 4 Dead 2 was so good.
That was like the ultimate like split screen, co-op game. Because it didn't care if it didn't matter if your screen peaked, right? It was all co-op.
because it's all co-op, exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we had a night. It's not a gaming story, but another night in that basement, we decided we were gonna have a boxing tournament. And so we went to Walmart, and again, we're probably like 16, 17 at this time, right? And do you remember the sock and bopper? Not the sock. Was it the sock and boppers or the
sock and boppers? Yep.
The inflatable
sock
gloves.
And boppers.
Yeah.
More fun than a pillow fight.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
So again, those are designed for like 8-year-old kids. We're 16, 17. Like, this will be fine. So we get a box of those, right? Get in the basement. First round is me against my friend, and I hit him so hard on the side of the head, the glove popped, and he crumpled to the floor. And we're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do in this situation. We had one of our friends was like the like minister's son, right? And he goes, I can't be here. And he leaves. He just fucking went home.
Oh my God. I think I just clipped my mic. I was laughing so
You
hard.
did. It was so good. And he woke up a while later, and we decided to go for the old, like, I don't know, man, you fell asleep. And just like, we all lounged about and just kept playing video games and pretended like it never happened.
See, that was me. I was the kid who would have been like, I gotta go home. I can't be here. That was me. I was like the biggest goody two shoes.
I mean, it was like immediately, like the second the guy hits the floor, I have to go. Like,
oh man,
fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah,
good times.
Those are the days. If I could just get all my friends to hang out and play Rock Band and Left 4 Dead again.
I'm down to do that, man.
Make up songs while playing Battlefield.
Too bad buying, like, if you don't still own it, like finding a Rock Band.
I still have my 360 Rock Band controllers in my garage.
We're doing that sometime.
Yeah, come out to California, man. It'd be great.
I mean it. I'm going to do that.
Hell yeah.
I love Rock Band. Last question coming in also from Jules. Also, if you could go to one place, all expenses paid completely, where would you go and why?
Ooh, all expenses. I mean, there's a lot of places I want to go. I do love to travel. I feel like I have to pick an expensive place if it's all.
I know. I feel like it too. Because there's like Dubai is super expensive, but like I don't like it'd be cool to see.
Yeah, I don't
but it's
care.
not like the top of my list.
All fake, right? Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
it'd be cool to like walk through once, like the Strip in Vegas. Like you go once, you're like, all right, cool, I'm good.
Yeah, you go once and you're good. Yeah, I don't know. As far as like expensive places go, I want to say like the one thing that's coming to mind would be like Switzerland.
Yeah.
And just like get like a room, like a giant suite for like a week straight in like a top resort in Switzerland in the mountains and just hang out and do whatever. Like that would be super cool. If it's all expenses paid.
All expenses paid.
There's other things I would probably want to do more than that, but all expenses paid though, yeah, definitely like, or like I guess similarly go to like rent out like an onsen spa in like Hokkaido, Japan or something, right? Like, and just like chill in the mountains in winter in Japan and just like sit in the hot tub and eat ramen.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Honestly, dude, I'm going to Antarctica. All expenses paid. Like that's a once in a lifetime, like just to say I did it, and like the frozen tundra and like just the experience of like how the the bases and shit work down there.
Yeah,
I don't know. It'd just be fucking so cool.
I have a friend who went to Antarctica for like a scientific research thing. Sorry, not Antarctica, the North one, the Arctic.
Like, okay, yeah.
Way northern Greenland, right? And I mean, I'm super jealous. I want to do it too, but like he was 100%. Telling me, it's like it's terrifying, right? Where it's like you're out there and you're on the ice and it's just nothing. Like you just look out the window and it's just flat and white. and like you have to get flown out by like there's like an Air Force cargo plane flies you out there, right? And they drop you off, and they're like, "Cool, next delivery's in a month. See ya."
Yeah, good luck.
And you're just out there, just literally in the most desolate, like brutal place on the planet, and it's just flat and white. And like, it's like, yeah, he's like, yeah, that first night you're just like, I am truly alone, right? Like, not that he's alone, he's in a research station with other people, but it's just like, it's like, that's it though, for thousands of miles, right? It's like, that's it. And yeah, that would be crazy cool.
Yeah, it's one of those you just
terrifying
experience
but
once.
Crazy cool.
Yeah,
yeah.
If I knew I was completely safe, everything's paid for, we're good. I'm down.
Yeah, that was one thing you mentioned too, where he's like, yeah, if you get sick or you get injured, like, you kind of just have to suck it up, because like they're not sending out a plane to get you unless you were like about to die. Like that is the only scenario in which they will dispatch a plane to come get you.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, again, huge thank you to everyone who put Discord questions in. That was really good tonight. We had some awesome
Thank
questions.
you, crew. This is awesome, man. I know I was sitting here, I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Oh, it's going to be a short episode. I'm going to feel bad. I'm going to be dorky and lame.
Nope, here we are 2 hours in. And
yeah.
Dude, I had to press record quick. I got you in the call, and I was like, all right, let's do it. I was about to say, like, let's do a test record, and like we immediately just started talking, and I was like, well, I'm pressing record now. Let's rock and roll.
Oh, let's hope we didn't lose all of this.
Yeah, no, it should be good.
Hours.
It should be good.
Nice.
Well, but if not, whatever. Yeah. You know, it's another one of those
let's
episodes.
do another one in a few weeks.
All good.
Sure, we can shoot the shit for 2 more hours.
Yeah, dude, that was a fantastic. I'm not. That was probably one of my favorite episodes we've done so far.
Oh man, yeah, awesome. Thanks.
Not to like fun, demean anyone else that's done a show, but like we've known each other a long time, and that was really fun to just chat.
Yeah, definitely.
Without having to make
I've been wanting to do it a while. Like I saw you started doing it, inviting people. It's like, oh, I want to be on Fuzz Podcast.
Really, I had no idea. You've hit it so well.
Yeah, for sure.
Not a daily DM. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Am I next?
Well, it was like it took us so freaking long to get planned for it. I was like, I didn't want to plan something and be like, oh, now I can't do it because.
Oh, for sure. Well, no, I think it was like 3 episodes ago. I announced the person, and you're like, well, it's not me, and I was going to have you like the following week, and I was like, well, now he's getting pushed back a couple weeks.
Nice.
So nice. I got you, baby. Well, I mean, as someone who's listened, you understand how this goes now for the ending of the show. First and foremost, I'll ask if there's anything you want to plug for anywhere, if social media of any kind, if you want people to find you places.
I don't really use social media too much these days. I do have an Instagram where I post a lot of like my like miniature painting and sort of like random hobby stuff. It's blyle17 LYLE. You can go check me out there, I guess, if you want to see all the weird mini stuff I paint. Or you can just go into Fuzz Discord because I post pictures of it there too now.
And I think we'll have to do a special episode of just bringing on a group of people that do that stuff.
Oh yeah,
that'd be fun.
Or like D&D and stuff too.
Yes.
But yeah, that's about it for my social media presence. I tried to stay away from it these days. It's just
I hear
garbage.
You. It's tough
for the most part, but yeah. So that's about it. Other than that, though, yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for being here. I
super fun and
loved this.
Can't wait to see what people's reactions is and who you have on next.
Absolutely, brother. Well, how do you want to end your episode? As you're aware, it's all up to you, man. Beat, poem, song. Do we just say Rex Shepherd back and forth for 20 minutes?
Can I wait? I'm in the middle of some calibrations.
We'll bang, okay? Who made
Excellent.
Those videos? Because I remember watching
the guy's channel is YouTube Poop. I remember you can still find him.
Looking it up now. YouTube Poop. That's right. It was YouTube Poop. Mass Effect. Dude, I watched every single one of those that came out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Poop.
Manslayer. Gamer Poop. Manslayer. Yeah, they're still out there like 15 years later.
Fuck, those were so good. And then all the fucking Skyrim shuffle, all that shit. Now twirl.
Old school YouTube, man.
I miss it so much.
End of an era.
Oh, man. Heck, I remember watching shit before YouTube was the thing.
Or like Gary's Mod, all the Gary's Mod videos.
Yes, dude.
I know people right now, they love to shit on the whole skibbity toilet thing, but like that is exactly the shit I would have been watching.
Oh yeah, dude.
In high school, all the Gary's Mod stupid videos that were out there, like it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, all the fucking we were just talking about Left 4 Dead 2. All the fucking videos that came from that.
Oh yeah,
with machinima
all the like
and all that shit.
Yeah, all the machinima like stop motion animation stuff people would make in Valve games and
fuck, dude.
Yeah, dude. I don't get how people are shitting on Skibbity Toilet these days. Like it's not for me. You know, I like to think I'm maybe a little more mature than that, but like I get it. Like 100% I get it.
Yeah, I'm not more mature than that. Go back and watch one Gamer Poop episode and you're like, yeah, no, I'm not more mature than that.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Thanks for having me. This has been fantastic. Let me know when you want to do a special edition episode on
they'll be coming,
or Airsoft or whatever.
All
whatever
the above,
floats your boat, man. Yeah, for sure.